They say credit belongs to the man in the arena who spends himself in a worthy cause. The credit belongs to those who dare greatly. And to those that fail, at least fail daringly. Target terminated. The glory is reserved for the few who, no matter what, answer the call to enter the arena. The call doesn't care if you fight for 1 or 20,001. It echoes out, reverberating across the globe. It only acts to reach the bold, never the timid. It's what's next, what's now, and what will always be.
Scump from up high. 1, 2. This is non-stop. They've got nowhere to run. It's a massacre. Wow. I got 2. Money. Airstrike coming. It's an ambush. The spawns are out of control.
Call delivers victory to the deserving and rewards the devoted. For when your time comes, there is only one option. Enter the arena. Fight for the call.
Hello everybody and welcome to the CDL pregame presented by USAA. We are live from our incredible virtual step with the beautiful Atlanta lights behind us, and what a beautiful day it is. Some Call of Duty League action. I am so excited. I'm very pumped to also be joined by my two wonderful strapping young gentlemen on the desk. I've got Mr. X and English joining me once again. Lovely to have you boys back. But I tell you what, before I do talk to these two wonderful gents, I have to talk about what happened yesterday. We had the first day of our season, and boy, some feisty matches were on the cards. Let's take a look at the highlights right now, because you missed it. I don't know where you were. Day one brought us two feisty matches with two teams breezing through their debut of the season. The season got underway with, first of all, the Thieves making their CDL debut against Røkkr. The excitement surrounding their return to competitive gaming was epic, and they showed they were ready as they took down Røkkr 3-1 and started the season off with a dub, thanks in large part to Temp and Kenny, of course. In the second match of the opening day, the defending champs, Dallas Empire, took on the Seattle Surge, and boy, they didn't miss a beat. As dominant as ever, sweeping the Surge 3-0 behind a huge day from their entire roster. I mean, I did get to speak to Crimsix at the end of that match, and he was on top form as per usual, showed off all of the ice that he's been earning, of course, in his career, including the incredible ring that he did earn from last season. The defending champs, people, look at those stats, you can't argue with those. And talking about arguments, Nameless, you got any arguments that right now Dallas Empire might just be the best team we have in the league?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty apparent that they're the best team and the team to beat right now. They're coming off a world championship, and obviously the hunger and motivation is still there for these guys. You're seeing it in all the videos how they're talking about, you know, last year was great, but we're focused on this year. And I think that's what makes this team so special, is the chemistry's there. They're good at every single game mode, and they still have those individual moments of just absolute greatness, like the moments that you can't teach. I mean, the 1v1 that Shotzzy won yesterday against Loony, the individual map performance out of Huke. Like, these guys just do crazy things. They take over games, and yeah, they're just the team to beat right now.
I do want to see them against, like, some of the top teams, though, right? You know, we see them against Seattle yesterday. You see three of their players, you know, in the top 3 in terms of KD. Yeah. You understand it was a huge blowout. I want to see what they look like against FaZe, what they look like against OpTic and Thieves before we really kind of say they're head and shoulders above everybody else.
Couldn't agree more. You've got to test the waters, right, gents? You've got to test the waters against all the oppositions we have, and Nameless said at the beginning, you know, we've got an incredible, competitive thing going on here. And talking about thing, we got a schedule for you guys right on the screen. Today's schedule, starting things off, we do have OpTic Chicago versus Paris Legion. After that, we have a killer of a match. We've got LAG taking on Atlanta FaZe. Very excited to see how the Atlanta FaZe stack up against a very new and improved LAG. And then, of course, we do have the opening weekend continues. It goes on to Saturday and Sunday. We got LAG taking on Legion. Mutineers versus Ultra. Our Game Fuel marquee match on Saturday is LA Thieves Thieves versus NYSL. And then Sunday brings us London versus Surge, Empire versus Røkkr, and the Game Fuel marquee match is going to be FaZe versus OpTic. That is your US Army schedule for our opening weekend. We still have plenty of action coming your way, folks. How exciting is that? Well, talking about excitement, I know that some of you guys at home are very excited to see a team play, and I must say, there's a lot of hype around them this season. I'm sure a lot of the teams here would be wanting to take a leaf out of their book, or should I say a brick out of their wall. Take a look at your OpTic Chicago.
The more I talk about it, the more insane this roster was.
It looked like they were good, but not good enough to beat the likes of Empire and FaZe. Arcitys and Prestinni out. Dashy in. There was drama going into this year that Dashy was trying to leave OpTic to get on Huntsman.
Basically, he told Seth and Hector, was like, yo, you guys gotta come save me.
Brandon, he's a super disgusting player. His 5-piece that he got on Seaside.
Coming in through the front line, Dashy!
Oh my God! Let's go!
I am okay with this roster. I don't love the move, but I know Dashy could prove me wrong.
Who is going to lead the troops? That is my single biggest concern.
You said Hex? Hex did what? He bought OpTic back? No comment. No comment.
Star-filled roster, that is something you cannot argue. This OpTic roster is looking so hot. I mean, their performance at the Kickoff Classic was one that I won't forget. And considering it was quite an anticipated matchup, very interesting results coming off the back of that. But Nameless, I know it's early days. I know it's early doors. We haven't really seen too much from our teams. But do you think, that OpTic are really going to be a contender for the title at the end of the season?
I do. I like this team a lot. And obviously, kickoff was super early, even right now, it's the beginning stage. But these guys have had a lot of months of practice, right? And you saw them at kickoff how bad they beat LA Thieves. Quite frankly, they looked, head and shoulders above them. And for this Huntsman team last year, they were the best hardpoint team, right? Like throughout the majority of the year. And with OpTic, I think that hardpoint is going to continue this year. I think adding Dashy, you just get that extra slaying power. They're going to be great in hardpoint. It'll just be their search and destroy. Envoy stepping up to be the leader in search. I think that they're on a great upwards trend right now, and their search, if it gets to their hardpoint levels, they'll be an absolute contender throughout the whole season.
I think they will be a contender throughout the entire year. I think just how far they go depends on Dashy, right? Which Dashy do we get in? I know for what periods of time do we get that Dashy? I think keeping him engaged, keeping him motivated, I think will be key for them throughout the year. And you kind of already see, with some of the content they've had, like he just seems to vibe really well with like Scump and Formula and Hector. And I think, you keep him, up in terms of his vibe. And I think we see what he can do in the past, right? Just an absolutely tremendous player, somebody who can take over games, just has to do it for a whole season now.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, and it's a good question in itself. What Dashy will we get? I'm actually quite confident that we're going to get a different Dashy this season completely. I think we're going to see a new form from this guy. Looking at the barracks hosted by TP and having Hector on, it was very interesting to see Hector's perspective on Dashy and what he's going to do this season. He says that, he is the one that they're kind of cushioning. They're looking at this young gun who can really come up and make something for himself. And he mentioned the motivation, he mentioned the focus. And to have your org owner, your team leader behind you, knowing that you have this pressure on your shoulders to perform with the rest of the team, I think Dashy can handle it. I think this is exactly where he wants to be. This is the roster he wants to be on, and this is where he can shine the most. And I think any professional Call of Duty player would take that and run with it. So I'm very excited to see what we're going to see from Dashy all season, including today. Very, very exciting. We're going to have to move on though, because I've got some very exciting things to share with you guys. You all could be winners today, folks. I'm talking to you in chat because we have some big news for you. During our OpTic versus Paris game, it will be this week's T-Mobile 5G weekly drop. So
Ooh.
The 5G weekly drop is your weekly shot at epic CDL prizes, and it's all thanks to T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network, of course. And what is bigger and faster than some instant pricing, folks? I don't think you could name it. Don't even try. Oh. So during this match, text T-Mo Drip to 313131 to win. Double check 313131. Write it down and get it in. That's what you got to do.
You got to get Ant's shirt as a prize for T-Mobile Drip.
Dude,
We
the
do.
shirt's not the
I must
drip,
say,
man. It's the person
you are
wearing it. You
dripping.
see what I'm saying? Like, it's you know,
Well,
you can't just give it to the shirt.
I'll leave you with that thought, folks. We're going to be back right after this break. We have our first match of the day kicking off. We got OpTic versus Legion, and going to be voicing that one. We have Study and Lando. See you for this.
Is this the end? Our heroes can't fly. They fall like shooting stars. Will anyone survive? Dragons take flight above the ice and snow. High in the sky where the cold wind blows. Wings feet down as the feet back foes. Flaming hot fire over frozen bones. Good unites against people they oppose. They ride or die as the legends grow. We must go to sense doing our heroes. There are no silence in this combat zone. Beats mid-air, yeah, it's a chiller. Life and death, yeah, it's a killer. They go round and round as the beat down pounds. Aerial thrills, yeah, it's a thriller. The sky's filled with trauma and all of this drama. Pretending and impending, yeah. Crash down. It's dragons descend.
The Call of Duty League is presented by Scump, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The US Army, what's your warrior?
Greetings, Call of Duty fans. Welcome back to the Atlanta home series. It is opening weekend day number 2. And boy, do we have a double header for you. Accidentally rhyming to start off the season. Oh my gosh. We are in the virtual set. Look at us, Study, man. We're in the virtual set. We got the city of Atlanta behind us. I'm feeling good. How about yourself, buddy?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm just more excited for this first matchup. For us, it's going to be our first cast of the entire year, and there's no better way to start it, man. We got OpTic versus Paris. It's going to be an insane match.
It definitely is. So what? Miles and Chance, they tried it.
Yeah.
Is it our turn to try this? Okay. We're going to do
so.
it the right way. On go. 3,
Ready?
2, 1, go. Oh! That
we
was
almost
close.
had it. We almost had it.
That was pretty good. I like that. All right. Without further ado, the fist bumps are out of the way. Let's go ahead and meet our first team, the Paris Legion.
Wonderful start here from Paris Legion. Paris Legion just about pushed that player off the hard point.
Just can they clutch up and go big?
Classic just being aggressive in the plane.
Fire's got to get on the bomb, and he will. He finds the kill.
Unbelievable stuff.
Awkward from the back end, able to pick up 3 along the way.
Paris Legions.
What a round.
That is your Paris Legion. You can see on screen a totally different looking roster in comparison to last year's study. Obviously, we transitioned from 5v5 to 4v4. We're a totally different looking team, and one of the guys to definitely look out for is the one kind of sitting in the front. Debuting today is that man, Fire40.
Yeah, man. He's going to be the rookie on this roster, man, making his very first appearance in the CDL. Besides the kickoff tournament, I'm super excited to watch this guy play. When I first started playing the game in the beginning of the year, we were running some 8s, and this guy was just an absolute monster, man. I'm excited for his debut.
Absolutely. Obviously, a lot of things to be excited about when it comes down to Paris. But, obviously, they have one team they're facing off against today, a pretty big favorite. I know what, the common term is, what time does OpTic play? It's right now. Let's go ahead and meet OpTic Chicago.
Bruce almighty keeps it going normal.
Looking fantastic.
Envoy slaying his way through Scump from up high, the king.
I'm out here doing what they thinking is irrational.
Really starting to run that score up.
I'm gonna make it back. I'm gonna make it back. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, OpTic Gaming are back. Chicago are a force to be reckoned with.
It's no surprise, Study. I mean, what? The OpTic Chicago team looked fantastic at Kickoff Classic. Without a doubt, one of the most dominant performances of the weekend, taking down LA Thieves 3-0. This team from top to bottom looks absolutely scary, especially with the new addition of Dashy.
When I think about this entire team, man, it's just spectacular players across the board. I can't even believe that they were allowed to put this team together, man. You're adding Dashy back to Formal and Scump. They have previously teamed before, and they just had the vibes that are just out of this world. And when you have Envoy, he's going to be your S&E play caller, your sub-dominant kind of player. He's going to be that vocal leader for this team. I just don't see any weaknesses besides what Nameless said for them, and S&E is the only thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Here are game fuel keys for Chicago. We'll get into those here in just a moment. But really, when we talk about this team Study, as you called it, right, the addition of Dashy only really makes them more scary. And I know that there were a lot of talks about losing Arcitys, how that kind of factors into things. Envoy's really been kind of leading the way for the comms. But again, our game fuel keys to victory here for Chicago. Keep up the slaying dominance from Kickoff Classic. Again, in that match versus the LA Thieves, all players put up a 1.20 major goal for them, and they kind of talked about it in a few of their content pieces. They want to get out of the gates early. They want to lock in those respawns. And as we've been discussing it, right? Feed off the talent. These guys, right? We know it, right? These guys are full with talent. You have to be aware of it, especially if you're on that Legion side. As we'll go ahead and take a look at the game fuel keys to victory now here for the Paris Legion. Study, walk me through them, buddy.
Gotta get high early, man. Use your slaying talent to steal an early respawn. And I'm looking at Aqua and Fire. Both players at the kickoff with a 1.3 and a 1.2 really stepping up. Fire to make his statement out the gate. This is your debut. You need to make an impact and make your name known worldwide, especially versus a team like OpTic. Keep setting up Aquas for success. Like I said, 1.3 in the Kickoff Classic. And just communication, man. It all needs to be there. And then for communication, their leading player is going to be Classic. He's going to be that vocal leader that knows how to play the game really well. He's able to step up, at least keep up in the slaying department with a couple of these OpTic players, and this should be a tremendous series.
Now, I want to ask you specifically on this game one, right? Because kind of out of the gates, just to kind of put in perspective for the folks at home, how important is this game one, right? It's the official kind of launch. I know we had the Kickoff Classic, but this is where the points really kind of start to come in. How important is this game one in regards to momentum for the remainder of this series for both of these teams?
Oh, well, it's absolutely huge, man, especially starting on Raid Hardpoint. This is one of those classics maps that you're going to have players like Scump, probably Formal, have played this back in the day. When we first started competing against each other back in Black Ops 2, which is basically like 10 years ago, they're going to have this map down to a T. So if you're new players like Fire, probably haven't got a chance. You have to adapt to this quickly.
Yeah, you definitely do. And we talked about this map when it was in the rotation back in Black Ops 2. But Scump, he was one of the youngest players. 8 years later, he's now one of the oldest. A classic indeed as we get this thing started off. Paris having a few opportunities to hop inside the hill off the rip, but it is going to be Chicago taking over control early. And it looks as if they do hold spawns for next. Player number 4 possibly causing a little bit of problems. Fire, he gets cut down. Same thing with Dashy as he falls in the hill.
And this is great for OpTic right off the rip. You go 3 dead once again. You're going to be able to at least gain another 15 seconds on this first hill. And you have the rotation towards that kitchen side. So far, they're starting off this hard point hot. We're going to need Paris Legion to start focusing a little bit more on the rotation. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Fight through mid-map. Totally forget about that P1 hard point. Just set up for the second.
We'll see how they look to try to engage in front. Scump, first man in the line of fire. And Envoy actually tosses out the nade. That's going to be 3 in the feed. Classic doing everything he can through money, and it looks as if it actually is going to work out for him. So he is able to stay alive, and despite the nade, Legion do get the spawns kind of toward that back basketball court position. So highlight plays from Chicago. Paris still keeping strong.
Yeah, Classic made a tremendous play. Going around that water side, going to money, trying to pick up a 2-piece, forces his player to spawn that basketball, and the opposite players from OpTic to spawn towards Raid, but they just did a great job of just holding this from the front, eventually clearing out the players in the back. They're going to hold a full 60 on this P2, and since this is Raid Hardpoint, man, you're going to have to answer back quick on this garage hill, or this game can get out of hand quick for Paris.
Classic, one of the first men already out of the gates, and but Legion, they actually end up spawning toward that back kitchen position. So if you're Chicago, this is great for you given the start of this game. You're already in a great position in regards to the score, and now you can also lock down P2 to P3, which by no means is common. Fire with that 74U wants to try to get in here before the trophies start to get locked down. OpTic setting up camp as they will hold on at least to the start of this first set of rotations, but see what they have up their sleeves in regards to the initial attack as Envoy keeping it up on a 5 spree, starting things off at 10-4. How about a 6th one in a row? Dylan Envoy absolutely heating up as no one from Paris really even having an opportunity to get closer toward that hill. A few players still sitting in art. And how about the 7th? Envoy not slowing down. Heads over to top art. Don't tell me he's going to win with this fight. No! A little bit close. A little bit close. A good opportunity, but what a start from Chicago out of the gates. Already a 100-point advantage.
And this is scary for the Paris Legion. So far, they have gotten destroyed on every single one of rotations. Even when they're getting there early, people on OpTic are winning their gunfights one-on-one. And so far, they have grown to a 130-point lead. You saw that Envoy picked up that artillery. He's going to be able to use it off this rotation. This is why they're sending 3 towards that backside. But Fire and Classic trying to play spoiler, able to take 2 down, now forcing all of OpTic to spawn back at water.
I know we saw it for a moment, Fire. I think it was a 1-9 start in your debut. That's not exactly what you want as the Legion try to hold here at basketball. We're going to go to an Astro Gaming listen-in with OpTic Chicago.
Money, one shot. One shot.
I'm with you. I'm after reload. Money, set.
Two on time.
Money.
Two on time. I'm waiting. He's close.
I'm in front of him.
Ready? I'm gonna go bait.
Let's go.
On the heady hurt. On the heady, not feeling.
Push back.
That's one. Yeah, they spawn water. Water in the back. Water in the back.
I hit up front.
I'm playing water.
More water shirt, I think.
I have zip.
I'm behind him. Nice.
They're spawning auto. 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm looking kitchen. You can get ring.
Yeah, going ring. 2 spawn auto. Cut out scraps. I have ring, guys. I have ring. What's the kitchen?
One could be water too.
I got one ring.
I have water now. Could be water stairs.
I have water, guys. I have kitchen.
Yo, right that kitchen. He's in the right
place. It's Tiki Fire. I have water stairs.
I have one ring.
One shot time. Listen, stack if you want. I'll pick a ring. Yeah, stack. I have ring.
I have kitchen.
Full stairs. Here. I have full stairs. I have nothing ring. Nothing stairs. I have your hut. Kitchen, Yulee. 2 of them. Stay down. I have your push.
One split out.
One more. I spawned new. Two there.
I'm watching our Zig.
Yeah.
Communication, a good indicator for the way that this game is going, Study. I mean, really kind of throughout that calm session, it is Chicago streak after Chicago streak. The XM4 is hot for Formal. It is hot for Dashy. I mean, everybody is going off right now. I think Formal just a moment ago was like 12-2. Now he's 13-4. They are all guns ablaze to start off this raid hardpoint.
This is unbelievable, man. This is a great first rotation of hardpoints. They dominated every single rotation. They are winning a majority of their gunfights. We were talking about it beforehand. Aqua and Fire need to be those players to step up. 7-15 for the young man. Decided to change off that submachine gun and pull out that XM4 to try to bring his team back into this one. But the good thing is, they get this remaining time. They do have that spawns for kitchen. OpTic's going to look like they're going to waste a lot of streaks going for this Q1 to try to get some time to push towards that 200-point mark. But Paris Legion, they need an answer, and 3 go down for them right there. Hopefully they're able to keep the rotation spawns towards kitchen. And that number 2 player, which is going to be Classic, has a big gunfight versus Envoy.
Yeah, big situation right now for Classic. Envoy in the back spawns, able to shut him down. So a good attempt for Envoy, at least for the moment. Classic cleans him up. Paris now with the P1 time, now heading into kitchen. This is their opportunity to start to bring this one back, and it has to happen now. Scump pretty much walks right through the front door of kitchen. Nobody watching it. Scraps also ends up getting taken down. Classic up close. He also falls. T2P, they hold strong. OpTic pretty much walk right through the front of the hill, and they take it right back over. That's what, the 3rd, if not 4th hill that OpTic has pretty much not held the rotation for, yet grabbed the time, as now we see a team kill come through on Scraps and Fire.
Yeah, Paris Legion, they just did not have a good setup. Nobody watching the front side, just that one player sitting in money. All they have to do is just break through that front, forcing the players from Paris to eventually spawn out towards water. And now OpTic was holding this from the front. They have 22 seconds remaining on this hill. They're going to be able to push it to another into that P3. It's looking like Paris is going to be fully set up to try to bring this game back in. But the way that OpTic are starting off this hot point is so hot.
It is, and your Legion, you're just trying to put out the flames. You're trying to do anything you can, try to mitigate a lot of the early dominance that we've seen as Envoy is calling the artillery. It used to be called Lambos. The cars here now, they can explode. And unfortunately for a few of the Legion numbers, they're probably learning that progressively more and more. A lot of experience with Chicago. When we talk about a few of these maps, this one in particular, as Envoy comes pretty much right through and ends up taking them down. It's the explosives working to his advantage. There's a few more seconds left, and this one is going to be cleaned up. Can Scraps get there in time? No, not going to happen. And OpTic Chicago come out with a dominant Game 1 victory.
Woo! That's exactly how you want to start if you're OpTic, man. From start to finish, they were dominating every single rotation. The team comms were there when we went for the Astro Gaming listening. And then even towards the very end of that game, they were just hitting the front of hills, knowing that they had streaks and they had the advantage to break it. And they were just dominant from start to finish, man. Great first hard point from OpTic.
That's really what you want, right? Obviously, if you're Chicago, we've been talking about it. You know, coming into this first hard point, you want to try to have a good performance early, and for that guy in particular, right? Dashy, there's a lot of talk in regards to him. You know, was he the right pickup for Chicago? Is he the right player to kind of fuel what is this next season for OpTic? And obviously now back under Hex and all those things, all the hype that kind of leads into it, and that is exactly what you want to see if you're OpTic. On the flip side for Paris, I mean, what study? We've talked about it, right? Coming into this series, a big one for Legion is, hey, can they come out of the gates early? Can they try to, maybe walk away with the Game 1 hard point? That is now out of the window, without question, as a number of different highlight moments for Chicago throughout this one. Game 2 S&D is now circled for Legion as, I don't want to say a must-win, because, you know, you kind of get it, but based on that first respawn, it's not looking great.
Yeah, man. Going into that first respawn, I was expecting it to be a lot closer. We were talking about Aqua and Fire both dropping 1.3, 1.2 throughout the entire Kickoff Classic. And there, they just didn't wake up. So if you're going into the Search and Destroy, you need to be able to bounce back.
Definitely do. Well, obviously a lot of pressure now put on to Paris, as we'll be right back with game number 2 right after this.
You can't stop it. OC Dub.
Beyond the veil lies the Shadowlands,
where every soul has its place. World of Warcraft Shadowlands, available now.
There's not a single person that plays at my level, at my age, period. I play every single day. I'm putting kids on the ground every single day.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. You guys showed so much love for Season 1. The Barracks is back for Season 2. brought to you by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. In this episode, we're going one-on-one with OpTic Gaming owner Hex. He's one of the most well-known Call of Duty personalities.
I can guarantee, and I mean with the capital G, that I am going to continue to sell more hoodies than anybody in Call of Duty has ever sold.
Damn.
Period. End of story.
I coached the team for a while. He got his baby back, reacquired OpTic Gaming, now under OpTic Gaming Chicago here in the CDL. The mastermind who made the green wall a household name,
OpTic Gaming on the board,
is now back home. Stay tuned for all that and more on this episode of The Barracks.
and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
This season, T-Mobile is jumping in where Metro by T-Mobile left off to deliver even more access and ways to engage with CDL action that you love. You can watch the full episode of The Barracks on our CDL YouTube channel. Also, T-Mobile weekly drop during this match. Make sure to text T-Mo DRIP to 313131 to win. Prizes this year will include CDL merch, opportunities to drop in with your favorite pros, exclusive access during T-Mobile All-Star Weekend and Champs, as well as so much more. Make sure to tune in each week to find out what's in play. Again, text T-Mo DRIP to 313131 for a chance to win using my T-Mobile device. Study, a lot of awesome stuff for the people watching at home. Like the gameplay is obviously entertaining. We also got ways to reward the viewers for that, for of course their support and for obviously their dedication. But tell you what, man, getting back into this game, that was quick, a lot quicker than I think we both expected. We knew Chicago, right? They've looked excellent in respawns. Legion, a lot of questions in particular for them coming into that game one, but that was just dominant.
Yeah, man, every single rotation off the rip, they were just winning their gunfights for OpTic. They were flipping spawns, holding them perfectly. You just heard it in the comms. They just sound so fluent, sound so clean. They were just ready for that.
They definitely were very well and prepared. OpTic Chicago now really for Paris Legion. To kind of start off this segment, I think, kind of in the start of the show, the analysts were kind of talking about it, Lottie and the boys. It was like, hey, search and destroy, this is going to have to be their win. If you don't get that early respawn, search and destroy, pretty much circle it. This is where you have to start to bring it back. Now, when it came down to the Kickoff Classic, at least for Paris, they did win one search and destroy, that one being on Miami. They actually dropped checkmate to London 6-3. So a little bit of history when it comes down to this map. Not fond history. We'll see how this round begins to start off as Envoy finding the first blood onto Fire, the bomb, quickly trying to make its way, of course, into that top plane, be the preferred site. We talked about this map with no smokes, no snipers. Definitely has changed things up a bit, but current 2 versus 2, Scraps may have an opportunity to try to cut down Scump, but the plant does officially go through, and now we have a little bit of a stack up. Players just happening to walk right past each other. Formal ends up falling, and there goes Scump as well. Paris grabbing the first one.
That was a great defense. You saw Envoy, he opened up with the first blood onto Flyer into that plane side, but Aqua and his teammate Classic were pushed up on towards that AS&D. Classic eventually pushed up and got one. Aqua was there for the trade. Once that bomb goes down, Scraps knew exactly where the players ran out towards that left wing. Aqua put himself in a great position right here. Not panicking, just waiting for both players to come out. It was a great first defense, and if you're Paris Legion, this needs to be that answer back, because, like I said, this is a team that was formed with players that nobody really wanted to put on their rosters, so this can be one of those scary teams, especially in a map like Search and Destroy.
Yeah, that's a great point, right? Legion, a lot of guys kind of coming together. I know in a few conversations with guys like Fire, Scraps as well, they've talked about, hey, we're trying to rally around kind of being in a similar situation. We'll see if that kind of factors in this game too, trying to rally around each other, bring this one back. B, yet again, the target and Scump from the floor does get dropped by the nade, so nice early start for Paris in your beginning offense. The trophy's going to be out, Dashy aware of it, decides to go ahead and hold on. They try to attack this from the wing. On the outside, actually through the windows, Classic able to shut down Dashy. An instant 2 versus 4 now for Chicago as Formal able to pretty much pipe on in, takes down Scraps. Aqua from afar could try for the challenge, but one up top, one down below. Formal, last man alive. Could make something happen. Does shut down Fire, so 2 more players left, and both of them just happen to be right where he's walking as Paris starting things off well.
Another great offense. You saw Classic open it up with that first nade onto Scump. Fortunately for Scump, he got stuck. There were no trophies yet on the map. But as soon as Classic was able to get that kill, throws his trophy down, works for the bomb plant. Almost trying to do everything he can in that 1v3, but that was just a great setup overall by Paris Legion.
Yeah, good setup from Paris, and again, like we discussed it, right? This is what you want. This is what you need off of what was a very difficult first map loss. I think it was like 7 minutes clocked in at the way they envisioned for it to start. Fire 0-2, brick off this search and destroy. And on the other end for Chicago, it looks as if it's going to be that 2-2 split now toward the A Street. Envoy, it likes to rain here. We saw that in the Kickoff Classic versus the Thieves. 2 early headshots for the Legion. That attack pretty much over toward the opposite side quickly gets foiled. Scump now on the flank, gets punched in the face, and Classic is going to be there. Dashy is going to at least find the trade, but really in back-to-back-to-back rounds, OpTic finding themselves in non-favorable positions as the Legion are looking strong off the start, and a lot of it really kind of came from this initial push here, Stud.
Yeah, that's the second time so far on their defense that they're sending 2 players towards that A site. And they're just being aggressive, making sure they're eliminating that side of the map from OpTic Gaming. Once they gain all that information, even if players are there, they're winning the trades. They're always putting themselves in a man advantage. They're really playing their defense as well.
I know Chicago talked a lot, really kind of coming into, you know, kind of opening weekend here. The Atlanta home series, Search and Destroy, is one that they've kind of felt confident in. It's been one that they've been really working on, but so far in this checkmate, Paris have without a doubt had their number, as Dashy quickly brought down to 16 HP. A common spot as Paris quickly around the corner, check it, but Dashy, he's long gone, at least for the time. So, site cleared out. This is no surprise, the bomb site to watch. Classic's obviously going to be able to get it down, but come toward the flank, may be able to catch an angle, tosses out the nade just to get some information, goes for the challenge, no teammate support, tries to hide behind the bomb, scraps. He's going to be too good, shuts him down with the headshot. Envoy, meanwhile, on the flank, is able to take down Aqua. Fire realizes it, Envoy doesn't care. Here comes the pinch, scraps will fall, and that is going to be a defuse. Now in for Chicago. Envoy continually on the flank.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal play out of Envoy there. Aqua, he was actually sitting in that back tower, and he got really bad timing there. As soon as he decided to jump out, Envoy pinches through that AS&D site, was able to pick up 2 players, and eventually win the round for his team. And now it's a great adjustment out of OpTic there. They were giving up that B site on their very first offense, but they decided to completely give it up and work around the backside, and that's what Envoy did, and he executed that perfectly. Good round win.
Yeah, I liked what we saw, at least from the Legion off the rip, right? They were able to get Dashy off the wing, and they pretty much collapsed from there on, but the flank from Envoy, we know this guy in Search and Destroy. It's no secret, right? His opportunity last year back at MW, presence was felt in a number of different ways, but I feel like a lot of the highlights were in the mode of Search and Destroy, and he's able to rally back. The young shot caller for really a group of veterans, obviously Dashy, a younger player still, but E2P, got a lot of respect for this kid, and see what he's got.
You see the adjustments coming out of Paris Legion on their defense. See Paris Legion just completely giving up that AS&D. They have a player that was sitting into, which is Aqua, watching that cross. OpTic was like, I'm not doing it again. We have lost it twice, and it's just not going to work. So Dashy's going to open up with the first blood onto Fire. Now it's looking like, with 45 seconds remaining on the clock, they're looking like they're going to commit towards B. They're going to have their hands full with that #1 player in Scraps sitting at the back left corner. Should be a bait and switch, and the Envoy's going to commit to the challenge. Pull up the trophy. Almost going to be able to take down one. Now it's a 4v1 situation, and he's going to get taken down. I love the patience out of OpTic there to make those adjustments on their offensive rounds. Good round win.
Yeah, and back-to-back, obviously, trying to echo things forward. Formal, best play of the round is able to shut down 2. Both of them trying to make somewhat of an adjustment, but it was pretty much really the flip of a switch, therefore Chicago. And really, we started talking about Paris quite a bit, saying, hey, this could be their opportunity to really kind of start to get things going. Chicago fires away with 2 quick rounds. You start to notice a few of those streaks, indicating really the big difference makers toward the end of things. Envoy now on 3 in a row. On the other end, again, the debut for Fire, 1-4 to start. Not what you want to see, but again, I don't want to say the game is early, but there's still some time for that guy to have a few good moments, Stud.
Yeah, it definitely is. You know, he is just getting his feet wet in his first CDL match of his entire career. So, you know, he probably has a couple jitters in him, especially going up against players like Scump, like Formal, who you've been watching for a really long time. As I say that, they're going to be able to open up with 2 kills. Now it's Fire and Scraps. 50 seconds remaining in a 4v2 situation. Scraps does have that bomb in towards B, but there's a lot of players from OpTic surrounding him.
Yeah, a lot of players ready to engage. Scraps is really just waiting for a call from Fire. We're really just waiting for some teammate support, given that the entire team of Chicago is still alive and they know exactly where they are. Fire able to find the pick onto Dashy, but are they aware that Scump is right around the corner? Scump able to find one. Scraps able to trade, but it is going to be Chicago really just with that man count advantage. The 4 versus 2 is going to work out for them. They knew exactly where they were, just in the center of the plane. Nice shot from Fire to earn the best play, but it's not good enough to earn the round.
The adjustments so far out of OpTic are huge, man. That's 3 straight rounds from them. They've realized that both of their offenses, they cannot push A, and it's worked out for them twice. Now their defenses, they've just completely given up A. They're stacking towards that left side of the map. Formal was able to open up with the first blood, currently on a 3 spree. He's going to decide to play it slow this time. But Paris, once again, trying to fight for that plane control. Number 2, which is going to be Classic, pushing up towards that bottom left wing. He may be able to get aggressive this round.
Classic wanting to be aggressive again. Envoy really right around the corner. If you can get that bit of control, and he's going to fire out a few shots, but he really kind of round the corner. Makes things really difficult for Paris, just in terms of wanting to hold that plane control. Given it is the center of the map, and given that it is most common bomb site, really the only one that we've seen attacked for the most part.
They have the cross set up. So what Classic and Aqua were doing right there, they had Aqua watch his entire left side of the map, and with Classic watching his entire A push through. It was a great setup. Unfortunately, going to see Formal open up the kill. Now we're in a 2v2 situation. Classic and Fire versus Dashy and Formal. 28 seconds remaining on the clock. Bomb is going to be down on top of the plane. Dashy, unfortunately, is going to get taken down by Classic. And Paris Legion are going to walk away with that round.
And a good round for Legion, right? We were kind of echoing it. We were talking about it kind of off the start. Envoy was trying to get some presence really kind of toward that back plane positioning. As you alluded to it, the crossfire from Legion kind of chokes out Chicago there for a moment.
Yeah, it kept them nice and hesitant.
Classic having some good situations here.
Yeah, Classic played that phenomenal. He knew that Envoy was around the corner, did not commit to that gunfight right off the rip. He just continued to trust in Aqua, having his cross, and eventually it worked out for them, man. That was a great defensive setup out of Paris Legion.
Now Legion will have their chance again at offense. We'll see if A possibly could be attempted at. Again, it's obviously a majority of the time it is going to be over in plane at B, and again, it's going to be more of the same. Aqua looking for a few players possibly toward the bottom A wing, but nothing given, at least for now. A lot of these fights are pretty much just, kind of earning some shoulders, getting some line of sights. Chicago are trying to be ultra careful. Envoy gets hit with a nade, still alive. Nothing doing yet. Just as I say that, Dashy finds the first pick.
Dashy with the first blood is huge, but that number 7, who is going to be Envoy, has a big gunfight versus Aqua. Aqua's trying to work around that backside, but Envoy's able to spot him. He's going to back down, reposition himself. Now, Paris Legion had to eventually work this bomb plan towards B. We're going to have that number 8 player, which is going to be Scump, sitting on the opposite corner. Envoy with the big gunfight onto Aqua, winning his individual gunfight. Being that island player right there. Scump able to take down Scraps. Last player is going to be up, and he's going to get taken down by Formal. We have it all at 4-4, man. These adjustments so far on this map are what keeping both of these teams alive, man.
And I feel like, too, when it comes down to a map like Checkmate, I mean, it is kind of minor adjustments because, everybody knows where the fights are going to be at, right? It's going to be in the middle of the plane, but the way that you engage, the way that you find the first blood, the way that the offense and defense kind of works the A street, a lot of little things to pick up on, but as you called it, right, Legion, Chicago, both kind of being aware of each other's tendencies, trying to fire away at it, and we find ourselves now in a 4-4. What does Chicago have planned? Decent run toward that left wing. In the meantime, constant trades and Formal able to drop 2 in a row. Aqua now last alive and uses the trigger discipline, but not going to be good enough as Chicago calls in the audible. How about the blitz? as that's now going to be their 5th. And how about this play from Formal, man?
Oh, man, that was an insane play from Paris. They tried to catch him off guard, trying to rush towards that middle plane, but Scump read it easy. Sat on the back of that control room, was able to pick up 1, and then you saw Formal slide in, able to pick up another 2. I would have liked Paris Legion, you know, we're going down to the final couple of crunch rounds to just play their standard setup that they had. Watching their crosses was the best so far defensive round that they had. And being aggressive and playing right there, I feel like it's going to cost them in the end. Fire 3-7, Aqua 4-6. They have a big offensive round to win right here. Especially with the way that OpTic have been making their adjustments on their defensive rounds. They're going to have to open it up with a nice early first blood. Especially on a player like Scump who plays that plane.
I was curious off the start if we were going to see Paris kind of show that same aggression that Chicago showed last round. But I want to say it was Scraps who realized kind of that opposite side was open. No trophy is going to blind Scraps for the time. Pretty much just trying to tuck away yourselves in these corners. Dashy finds the first blood. Classics there for the trade. Formal pretty much just hanging out on the wing. Plays big again. Aqua's there to take him down. The constant X and O fights are now going to leave Aqua all by himself. A 1 versus 2 to try and force the round 11. Bomb is going to be up in top plane. And if you're Dashy and Envoy, the new young duo, they want to try to stay together. Dashy might have saw him, and Dashy does. Chicago walk away with the search and destroy as well. A closer one, but another victory, this time 6-4.
Oh, man, OpTic. We were talking about their S&D woes before this series started, and that's a great S&D showing right off the rip of your very first match of the entire season, man. You saw the mid-game adjustments, both on offense and defensive rounds, and they were just picking them apart easy. We saw Fire. He was that player that was first blooded on that very last round, trying to challenge both Scump and Dashy in the back of that plane. It's probably not your best bet, especially with those 2 kind of players. But that was a great overall S&D from OpTic. If you're Paris Legion, this one's going to sting a little bit. Now you're down 0-2 in the series versus probably one of the best respawn teams in the entire CDL. Even though we're just starting today, it's going to be scary going into map 3 being 0-2 if you're Paris.
Yeah, not a fun start for Paris by any means, but when we take a look at that scoreboard, man, Formal 11-6, Envoy 8-4, but really Formal was kind of the guy to watch, especially kind of toward the end of these rounds. Had a number of different awesome highlight plays, but I mean, you really called it well, Study. It was kind of this moment from Chicago where, hey, I think it was, an 0-3 start for them. They start to make a few of these adjustments. They quickly begin to bring things back. They start to kind of learn from the tendencies. And again, on a map like Checkmate, it can be a little bit difficult to adjust given the general strategy, which is going to be known. You try to work that second and third lane and really kind of go from there. But really just solid plays from Chicago all around, and especially from that man Formal.
Formal was opening it up, man. When you saw Scump sliding into that plane, he was able to pick up that first blood with his submachine gun, but Formal was always there for that trade. Even if his teammate didn't go down, he was picking up 2 pieces left and right for his team. This was the biggest round of the game for me, though, man. When Paris Legion decided to just play aggressive in towards the plane, eventually give up first blood and also second blood, so it turned into a 4v2. It was just impossible, man. I would have liked to see them just play their cross setup that they had previously with Aqua and Classic, or watching the opposite sides. Unfortunately, they misread that play. OpTic read it easy, and that was a good round win, and eventually closing out the map for OpTic. It was a good series so far, up 2-0 for them.
Yeah, that was our U.S. Army tactical play. Again, Formal being a big difference maker when we talk about that search and destroy performance. Overall, Chicago with a great early beginning. Can Legion start to bring it back into control? We'll find out right after this.
just never know what's gonna happen.
More ways to play, that's what I want. What is my opponent gonna do? How am I gonna counterplay that?
Play hard soon now!
Victory or death! Your soul shall be mine! Your soul shall suffer!
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by GameFuel. Use code CDL 2021 for a special CDL launch event discount on GameFuel.com. Tournament audio and team listenings are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League.
What's the point of grinding if you ain't gon' ball? What you doing when the money comes? Gotta get it now, ain't no time to stall. Tell them I want everything, yeah, I want it all. What's the point of grinding if you ain't gon' ball? I gotta get to the cream, I've been the cream of the crop. I gotta get to the green, already been at the top. Shawty was so show, man, talking the game to fly. I want everything, yeah, I want it all. What's the point of grinding if you ain't gon' ball?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to opening weekend here at the Atlanta Home Series. Folks, don't forget, during this match, to text Timo Drip to 313131 to win. Prizes this year will include CDL merch, opportunities to drop in with your favorite pros, exclusive access during T-Mobile All-Star Weekend and Champs, as well as so much more. Make sure to tune in each week to find out what's in play. Again, don't forget, text Timo Drip to 313131, obviously for a chance to win. Don't forget, folks. Like I said, it's easy. Timo Drip 313131. All right, Stud. Let's get into the core of this situation that we've got going on right now. Chicago, they come in. They really start off hot, right? They win the hardpoint on raid pretty dominantly. We come into the search and destroy. Legion are looking pretty good. OpTic makes some adjustments. Formal decides to go absolutely off, and now we find ourselves 2-0. Legion, obviously, in their kind of debut match, along with Chicago, but you're talking about guys like Fire, Scraps. I mean, there's a lot of situations going on here for them. I mean, what needs to happen in this control? I mean, who needs to step up? Players that you're looking out for? Is this a situation where you're looking at somebody in particular, an in-game leader, to step up and kind of control the comms right now?
I'm specifically looking at your veterans. I'm looking at Aqua, I'm looking at Scrap. These are players that need to be able to slay with the best of the best. And the way that OpTic is playing right now, they are not missing a beat. If you're going into this control, which is going to be on raid, you know how fast-paced this map is going to be. Once you kill everybody at A, they're all going to be spawning at B. You kill them all at B, they're all going to be spawning at A. So it's all going to be about just who's going to be keeping that pace, who's going to be slaying out for their respective team. And I'm just looking forward to how Paris is going to be able to bounce back here, because if they do not match the slaying power of OpTic, this series is going to be done.
Yeah, it's going to be over in, I don't want to say record time, but pretty darn close to it. Different adjustments needed for Legion is already off the rip. Chicago finding 2 early ones as they'll look to go ahead and grab some time over at A. Nearly 1 tick through, and Scump's already thinking about the future. He's already taking a look in Laundry, may even try to go for the rotation toward back jungle. If it's clear, they may actually try to go for this, so something to keep in mind. Chicago already off the rip, finding A. I think that's player 2 in Classic who's trying to go for the flank. And he will end up taking down Envoy, but nonetheless, off the rip, Chicago, they grab the first point quick. And that's, 2 minutes now on the clock for them to kind of work over at B.
Yeah, well, that's 2 kills coming in from Dashy, able to eliminate both of those players at the zigzag area. You have a couple players that were trying to go around that backside towards Laundry. That player in number 4, which is going to be Fire, holding that backside push through, forcing all the players from Paris Legion to spawn at basketball. Boom, were able to open up with 1, 2 players trying to fight for Kitchen. But that number 3 player, who's Aqua, being the nuisance on the side of OpTic's base, they had to try to find him quick. 3 go down. Last player is going to be Aqua. He's going to get traded. Now it's going to be a full stack onto B. What a flawless round so far to OpTic.
Just how they drew it up. Dashy off the rip. 5-0 start. He's thinking maybe about streaks for the future. Quickly has to turn around because that's a 3-piece coming through from Legion. So Paris do manage to get the collapse. But again, if you're Chicago, you're talking about what, that 1 tick progress already? They'll take that given the situation. So Legion definitely going to have to be conscious of it. The live situation, not really all that major, at least for the time. Fire's going to catch the boots of Envoy, shut him down, and try to get him as far away from the point as possible. As Paris trying to set up, I don't want to say a spawn trap by any means, but they're definitely conscious of where the opposing team happens to be, kind of toward the other side of Lambos. Fire was, in some cases, spawn blocker there, and now has the opportunity to play spoiler here for Top Mansion. That's going to be 3 in a row for him. Finally does get taken down, but that's really just because he was overwhelmed by the amount of Chicago players that were near him.
This is a great defensive hold out of Paris. All their positioning, you're going to see Scraps with a big 3-piece. Unfortunately, it's going to get taken down by Scump. But now all the players from Paris Legion are going to be out of the base, except for 1 who's going to be Classic, trying to just stay alive. But so far, man, they're just getting all the kills, pushing up the map control, forcing OpTic to push either straight or wrap back. And all the kills are just going in favor of Paris Legion. This is a great defensive hold, even though they gave up that A-cap nice and early.
Yeah, great response from Legion now. Chicago just look to try to find any little bit of an advantage that they can. The dominance early, as you called it, but really since then it has been all Legion. Scraps does get dropped. No respawns remaining now for Chicago. Pretty much about valuing your life like it is in Search and Destroy. Envoy drops from the front. There goes Dashy, Formal, now all on to Scump, and he's not going to be able to get to the point in time. He falls as well. And that's Legion responding valiantly. And in some ways, I know I kind of said it off the start study, it looked like a spawn trap. I mean, that kind of was, right? They had everything locked down, and Chicago, they couldn't break free.
Yeah, once they realized that OpTic already capped that A point, they got a clean 3-4 down, and they started pushing up for more map control. Once you're fighting for that art side area, you're going to spawn all the players from OpTic to spawn on that water street. Some players decide to wrap back, some players decide to push forward. All the kills are just going in favor of Paris right there. That was just a great defensive hold out of them. Hopefully they have the same exact answer on this offense.
Yeah, we'll see for Legion how this next round will start to shape up. In fact, let's go to an Astro Gaming listening with Paris.
Water stairs? Yeah, water steps holding across on 1 shot. Got money. One's water steps still.
Water stairs still. Go on, flank. Envoy flanked.
Come up, salute. What size? I'll see you guys spawn. Yeah, I don't see nothing. He's right. Yeah, he's in bedroom playing for us. Money. Yeah, I'm winning. I'm filling out.
Bottom bed.
Bottom bed. Pushing up. One in the corner as well. Scump absolute. One in the corner. Yeah, I got him. On B. Yeah. He's in. Ticket. Nice. I have a trophy on this. I'm getting basketball. I got a trophy basketball. Money. Yeah, I need it. They have trophies. Give me that money. Dashy slid money weak. I'm gonna try to push him. Hey, left corner. Tree. Nice. Money. One pinky more there. One money. No, too money. Job's done. Let's go. I got money on me. 1 shot. Yeah, one's the money. One's Black van. You know me? One is gonna be behind us, bro. That should be top laundry. One is on the stairs.
I don't know about you, but that sounds like a team who's hungry to try to bring this one back, making some good progress early at B. They quickly bounce over to A now. What would you like there from the Legion throughout that comm session?
I just liked how they committed themselves towards that B point. You heard Scrap say, job done. Getting 2 ticks at B right off the rip, forcing all those players to try to wrap back and kill you off is the best case scenario because you're all just going to spawn at A and eventually work your captures. But as I say that, OpTic is completely slayed out that A point, pushed them all the way in Arc, going to force all the players from Paris Legion to hit through this water side. But they're fully set up for this. If you're Paris Legion, someone needs to open up with that first blood eventually to work one way.
This is what we saw.
That's a good way with a trophy.
Yeah, that is indeed. This is kind of what we saw at the Kickoff Classic and what we saw in the last round, right? Envoy just kind of wants to hang out in Lambos. He wants to try to make those players spawn toward that back mansion position so that everybody from Chicago knows exactly where the push is coming from. It's by no means the more favorable side. We talk about that A point, quickly trying to hop inside of money. That is Dashy. Manages to take down Classic and Legion. They're trying to go for the pinch. They want to try to eliminate this setup as best as they can. Envoy's pretty much going to hang out there, try to find a few calls from time to time. Scraps is able to wipe him away. We've got pretty much stragglers on both sides of the map. Now it's going to be Fire, who finds himself over in jungle. And I think Scump's somewhat conscious of it. 40 seconds on the clock. Both teams similar when it comes down to the life position. Fire falls, and meanwhile, it's the Legion who are hopping inside of A. 1 tick left.
Well, it all started with Scraps winning that one-on-one versus Envoy. You saw that opposite player from Paris Legion flanking around the backside. They were eventually forcing all the players from OpTic to spawn at water. There's going to be one player on this point. Classic versus Envoy. He's going to get taken down. Envoy trying to do everything he can to just stall enough time for his teammates to get to him. 2 kills are going in the favor of both sides. Dashy's here for the help. No respawns left for Paris Legion. Dashy with 2. 3 players remaining. I cannot believe Envoy just made that play. I thought this was 100% going to go in Paris Legion's favor. But unfortunately, man, Envoy stalled enough time for his teammates to get there. 20 seconds remaining. 5v3. Scump's going to get taken down, but 2 players remaining. 14 seconds versus all the players of OpTic. This is going to be a tough task to do. This should be tied 1-1.
Should be. We'll see what Fire and Scraps have up their sleeves. 4 seconds left. Can Fire find the peak? And Scump's not going to hand his life over. And really from there, Paris not able to hop inside of the point. And my goodness, what started off great for the Legion ends up going in the opposite direction. And really, it's all because of this play from Envoy. The major flank to clear out Ring. We can talk about the number of different highlight plays that Envoy has throughout the season, and a majority of the time, it's him being so pesky on the flank, a round that should have gone the opposite way, but it's Envoy putting his stamp on this game, giving Chicago a round that I don't want to say they didn't deserve, but it looked like they deserved it, at least when it came down to the beginning phases. But 1-1 we go.
It's looking like OpTic are going to try to do the exact same thing Paris just did. Try to go towards that B point. Formal able to open up a first blood onto the guy in pocket. There is going to be a player in money. Envoy's going to be able to spot him, but your main objective here is just try to earn some early ticks if you're OpTic Gaming. They're eventually going to be able to get one. Now it forces all the Paris Legion to try to wrap back and get them off. That number 3 player who's canceling the spawn in Aqua is in such a great position. If he goes down here, all the players from OpTic will spawn at A. Him just playing his live is perfect.
Aqua does end up getting taken down, so really when you kind of see that push off to B in the beginning phase, it really has been, in really the last 2 rounds and the last 3 rounds, the opposition, the defensive team instantly wants to try to put somebody inside of Lambo to block off that spawn. They wanted to try to keep siphoning into B, get put into somewhat of that line of fire attack, as Formal was hanging out there for a moment. Scraps is going to wipe him away. So 2 ticks of progress over at B for OpTic, as now they'll quickly transfer their forces off of spawn, now back toward A, and that's really the way that raid works, Study. But it's not necessarily a garrison type situation. You got some freedom when it comes down to both these control points.
Yeah, you just got to go back and forth, and eventually if you know the opposite team is going to be able to cap that one, you push up the entire opposite side, and that's where you see Aqua push up all the way through water side, trying to flank towards that art area. He's going to decide to go back, but this number 1 player, Scraps, is just causing a spoiler, forcing them all to spawn back, eventually worry about this player. But number 7, just pay attention to Envoy, sitting in basketball nice and patiently, just waiting for a player to push through. They only need 1 more tick at B. So far, they just eliminate Aqua right here at this top window, and they should have a full setup at getting it.
Good opportunity. 2 versus 1. Classic ends up getting dropped. That's Envoy again, trying to cause some issues for the Legion every single opportunity they get to try to pop inside of the hill, try to get a line sight over at B. They end up falling over in Little Room. Classic and Fire, they'll combine for 2, so that will wipe away Chicago for now. Keep in mind, they still got 1 minute and 14 on the clock, and these rounds are huge for the Legion, because this very well could be our final game. Not letting OpTic get to that 2-1 advantage is everything, as Formal staying strong, and Tiki. Envoy drops as well, so limited forces, but Formal hops in. Can he win the fight versus Fire? On the other side, it's actually Scump finding 2 inside a kitchen, so this is great progress. Can anybody from the Legion actually hop inside of the point in time? And they won't. It will not hop inside of the hill, and that's going to be Chicago. Really awful Formal's play, walking away with this round.
Yeah, Formal won a big one-on-one gunfight towards that back basketball area. He played his life well, but the entire time Scump was working through that middle map, forces himself through kitchen and able to take out both players that were playing in this money area. It wasn't obviously the final kill cam because Aqua won it there, but Scump came back and got 2. And then once he was able to do that, opens up the entire map, forcing all the players from Paris Legion to spawn back Laundry. It was a great setup out of OpTic. Like I said, getting a nice 2 early ticks onto B was the best case scenario. They saw Paris Legion do it on their very first offense. They're able to answer right back on their second offense to be able to put themselves up 2-1.
Oh, man. Oh, off the start, Envoy accidentally sticks Scump in the back. I'm sure the Cobs are pretty fun for that one. Maybe a future CDL video that we get to see how he reacts. But not the start that you want, but given the way the last 2 rounds have worked, Chicago have had a lot of things go in their favor. One kind of minor detail there is going to give Paris actually a great advantage over at A. So we talk about little minor mistakes, how those can start to siphon in. I mean, this would have been a full 4-on-4 battle for Chicago. That instantly changes things. And really within the first 10, 15 seconds of the round, Paris, they've already locked on that A control point.
Yep, and that's exactly how they need to respond, man. Getting that point nice and early, even though they don't have anything towards speed. They have 2 minutes with a lot of lives to their advantage. Now, since they just went 3 down, they only have 2 lives advantage here. But OpTic, you're going to see exactly what they're doing. Envoy, being that player to just force the players on the opposite side of the spawn, trying to make them all go around the backside. OpTic is fully set up for it. Aqua's going to win a big gunfight on that Zig. But you see Classic trying to work out on the back with his teammate. Fortunately, almost there to try to keep them at East Bay. And Scump was also there for the help.
Bears trying to make their way inside a kitchen. Formal, who's been so difficult inside a jungle, finally gets dealt with. Scraps is happy to give the comms over to his teammates. The possible pinch is here, and Scraps pretty much just walks right through and says, "Thank you so much, teammates," as everybody falls like flies. Chicago now pretty much off of spawn. They're going to have to get into this point pretty quick. It's got pretty much the first line of offense, or rather defense, to try to get back into this point. Will be successful in his 1v1. Obviously shuts down the second also. Legion are still getting the time. They have to hop into this point quickly. Classic is here. Envoy has to hop in and gets the time, but no. Legion, because of the timing and really kind of off of the start of that round, the accidental teammate sets them up for so much time that they really get the 4 clean wipe, and from there, it's easy pickings for Legion. As Chicago were all off spawn. Constant 1v1s. Legion, they send us to round 5.
Yeah, it just all came down to trading, man. And you saw Classic with a big 2-piece around that backside, forcing all the players from OpTic to spawn back Laundry. Now that he had full basketball control, you just stack a little bit, eventually worked the 2 ticks. You saw Scump try to open up with a big kill onto that onto the player in the basketball area. Unfortunately, there were just 2 players remaining. All the players from Paris Legion are spawning directly on the water side, so they're just sprinting forward. They only needed a couple more seconds. Now, we're in a round 5. We're in a round 5, and let's see exactly what OpTic decided to do here.
Yeah, Chicago getting the offense parade in this round number 5. Already off the rip. The attack was made known over at B, and Dashy doing anything he can to try to pick up from carnage that just took place. And it looks as if B is still going to be their target. You see from Legion, they still have a few players over at A. The quick spread now to B as they realize what the intended target's going to be. Formal tosses that nade from afar. Unfortunately, physics in the water, it's not going to work out that great. But there's a 3 in the feed now for Legion. Kind of a similar situation to last round where a group of opposition members fall like flies, and that's going to be quick progress due to the stack that they have inside of the point. That's going to be a very quick capture for Chicago. Now the focus is going to be on A, and Dashy, he's starting to heat up now at 5 in a row.
And you can just see right off the rip, Envoy has all the information that he needs. He's spawning at that B street. He knows that there's a player pushed up in their base. You have to try to eliminate this guy. You're going to have Envoy and Scump trying to look at this one player. Scump's going to be able to win the gunfight on the scraps. Now they should be able to have some arc control here. Next player off on the line of sights is going to be Aqua. He should get taken down there. Now OpTic has full arc control. They're going to be able to get that player that's rotating mid. 3 are going to go down for Paris Legion. OpTic, all they have to do is stack here, and they're basically going to close this round out.
Very good position. Now for Chicago, Formal with the cutoff over at Kitchen. Has to be aware of those water stairs as the bait and switch tries to be attempted. However, the trades are going to be there for Chicago. Time starting to tick away. Time starting to go again. And Chicago are going to walk away with this round 5 as well as this series in a hot 3-0 It looked good for Legion at times. In fact, it looked great for Legion at times. Chicago, the adjustments, Chicago just in general, the way that they controlled these big moments toward the stretch was oh so interesting. It's 554 days since OpTic under Hex played their last official series, and here they are, walking away with their first official W in the CDL for Cold War.
And you gotta be feeling good if you're an OpTic fan, man. They won their very first Search and Destroy of the entire year. And that's good, man, because when we talk about previous OpTic rosters, S&D has always been their woe kind of game mode. When we talk about the respawns, we know exactly what kind of players you have. All Slayers across the board. They completely dominated this series. Unfortunately for them, it went down to a round number 5 in that control. They could have closed it out previously if they just made a couple adjustments, but you can just tell they were on point throughout this entire series. Good 3-0 out of OpTic.
Yeah, a very well-collected, rather collective control for Chicago. You see 29 and 23 out of Dashy. Envoy goes 23-25, Scump -1 on the other end. Some good performances from aBeZy, right? 26 and 19, Scraps 27 and 22, Fire -3. So really the slaying wasn't too out of hand for either side, but it really kind of was those adjustments, and I think a lot of it kind of had to do with that streak that we saw Dashy go on, at least to start. So you like it if you're Chicago, right? That's a great way to kind of start off your official CDL performance. I know they had the opportunity at kickoff, but if we're including those maps now to here, that is 6 in a row in regards to Cold War. So some good stuff for them, and especially that hard point on Ray to start off, it definitely got them in the right direction, Study.
Yeah, man, when you start off on a map like Ray, that map has been out for like 10 years plus, and Scump knows that map down to the T, man. We've been playing it together for a really long time, since the Black Ops 2 days. So they start off with that map. They basically 100-point club them. Then you go into a Search and Destroy. You go down early 3-0 in rounds, but then you make those mid-game adjustments that just eventually change the entire game. And you're going into that control. They knew exactly what gameplay they needed to do. Envoy, with that submachine gun, even though he didn't have that many kills, he was just making tremendous plays, forcing the players from Paris to spawn on the opposite side of the map and work 2 times harder at trying to get to that point. It was a great adjustment out of OpTic. Like I said, 3-0, great score. First series for OpTic, you got to be feeling good.
Yeah, it definitely has to feel good, man. We'll go and take a look at our scuff play of the game there in regards to that control, and it's really going to be kind of toward the stretch, right? Kind of in that final round where we're talking about the Legion. Can they start to bring this one back? Could we see a second hard point? And it's really just Chicago uniting together, getting that control. They played, really, it was kind of a team effort, right? You had certain players kind of pushing up. Formal was aggressive over a kitchen. We see Scump getting involved in the feed, and really kind of from there, and really in control. You get 4 down, and it's never going to be an easy task as Chicago kind of utilizing that opportunity and that map positioning for their advantage.
Yeah, it all started with just clearing those players out of that art. If you kill both of those players out of art, which were Scraps and Aqua, they were both just canceling that spawn, forcing the OpTic players to spawn on that water side. You saw Scump, him and Envoy work that perfectly. We're eventually able to take down both of those players and get some positioning to push up onto that point. Scump picked up an AR as well, so he jumps into that top window, able to kill Scraps again. That entire time that's all going down, Formal was middle map, picking up kills coming out of kitchen. They were just fully set up, man. Had the players spawning at basketball, there was just nothing Paris could do in that situation.
Yesterday, I know there was a lot of talk coming into this series in regards to Chicago saying, hey, is this the right team? Was Dashy the right pickup? Are they going to kind of be that team that we expect them to be? And that 3-0, I think, says a lot, right? It definitely says a lot in regards to the way that this team is performing right now. Their respawns look excellent. They had some good cadence in the Search and Destroy as well, winning this one in a hot 3-0. However, that is not actually going to be the remainder of today's matches. We still have our home team, Atlanta FaZe, to face off against the Los Angeles Guerrillas. Of course, we'll be on that one, Stud. A nice doubleheader today. Excited to see that one. And then obviously here is our opening weekend schedule in regards to the way that things are going to be kind of lining up for Saturday and Sunday. A lot of excitement, especially on those Game Fuel marquee matchups. We got the LA Thieves versus Subliners, and obviously the 2 teams that we're going to have today. FaZe versus OpTic. That's always a fun one to watch. You know, last year it was FaZe versus Huntsman. A lot of animosity toward the 2 teams in regards to how long it was until they actually got to face off against each other. But now, obviously, Hex under OpTic and that rivalry versus FaZe. It's going to be a great way to kind of end out the weekend.
It's back to life, man. You got OpTic, Hex, and then you got Atlanta FaZe. These guys have been just going at it for years, man. I'm excited to see this rivalry back in. I can't wait to watch that Game Fuel marquee matchup.
Definitely, man. It's going to be a blast. Like I said, Chicago really come out strong, and I'm excited to see kind of what the future looks like for this team. Well, we're going to take a look at their Stage 1 schedule. Of course, they get the W here versus the Legion. We talked about that matchup against FaZe coming up, on the 14th? A few days later, they've got the Ultra to face off against. They'll end up matching up against the Guerrillas and to end things out against what appears to be a very pesky Mutineers team. Excited to watch that group play. Now, for the Legion, we'll go and take a look at their Stage 1 schedule as well. Not a fun one to kind of break off here in a 3-0 loss, but they've got the Guerrillas coming up tomorrow, actually. That's going to be a fun one to see. Followed up by the Florida Mutineers, Toronto Ultra, and then on the 27th, they will have the Atlanta FaZe. So again, when we talk about this group in particular, study, really just in general, right? When we talk about the CDL right now, 5v5 was already scary enough last season. In 4v4, and I know it's been talked about constantly, there is no easy team. Like, I mean, the level of competition right now is absolutely insane. I know we just saw a 3-0, but in general, right, the level of competition is out of this world. I keep looking at the schedule and I'm like, well, that's going to be a tough game. That's going to be an interesting game. It's just every matchup is going to be great. I'm looking forward to see how the rest of the season shapes up, and I'm expecting quite a few Game 5s, might I add.
Game 5 is looking like a lot, man, but a lot of these teams are just so dominant at respawn. It's going to be really scary, especially if you're one of those top dogs. If you're the Dallas Empires, the OpTics, the LA Thieves, you're one of those top teams that are just expected to be really good at respawn. Now, if you're one of these lower teams, I guess we can say Paris Legion, a team that nobody really wanted to put together. You just need to perfect that one game mode, which is twice in one series, to search and destroy. If they were able to close out that map too, it'd be a totally different series. Unfortunately, they didn't have those mid-game adjustments to close that out.
Definitely, man. Like I said, when it comes down to this particular series, there's a lot of things that you can kind of look at. There's a lot of different situations where you could point out and say, those are the adjustments that we need to make. And I'm sure that Coach Theory is going to be there every step of the way for the Paris Legion. But folks, we're going to head to a quick commercial break. However, when we come back, it is going to be Lottie joined alongside by Scump. We'll be right back.
The Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Scump, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by USAA Insurance, auto, renters, and home insurance that's made to help the military community protect what they've worked hard for.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Game Fuel Victory Spotlight Call of Duty League. The king himself is Scump from OpTic. Scump, I must say, you know, we were very, very excited by you guys in the Kickoff Classic and what you produced there, the little debut, the little taster, so to speak, that you gave us before heading into the season. I got to ask you guys, though, since the Kickoff Classic, how has OpTic been preparing for the points to start going on the board?
I mean, you know, same old, same old. Just a lot of reps every single day. A lot of people are worried about our practice. We are one of the teams that streams our practice regularly. So I guess it's a good and a bad thing where people can see our off days and as well as our good days. But on match days, I mean, we're always coming in to the best of our ability to win. So, you know, you can't put too much stock into those scrims. I mean, Paris was a team that was beating us in scrims, actually. I think we've played them 2 times, and they beat us both times. But, you know, sometimes we're just not there. We're trolling. Practicing every day sometimes gets a little bit tiring. So match days, we're always coming to play.
Absolutely, I like it. Hey, you got to leave a little bit in the tank at the scrims. You want to show them everything, man. You got to leave a little something for game day, and I like it. I like what I'm seeing here. Now, obviously, you are fantastic at respawns. We've seen some epic things from you in the 2 matches we've seen you play so far at the beginning of 2021. But Search and Destroy, talk to me about that. Are you looking as a team to finesse that a little bit more? Is that something you're going to be focusing on?
Yeah, I mean, the past 2 years, 3 years, my gameplay in Search has been a lot better than previous years. And then with, obviously, Bruce and Dylan, I think we have a really, really good all-around S&D team. A lot of people will say our respawn is really, really good, and we're one of the best respawn teams, which I agree with. But, you know, we are no slouches in S&D. And I think people are going to see that again this year. I mean, last year we were really good at Search as well. It just comes down to clutching up and preparing like we do. We know that we're good at Search, and I don't think people should really worry about us too much in Search and Destroy because we definitely have been proving that we're good at it, and we're going to continue to do so throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, you regained composure like the pros you are. That was completely evident during that series. So I think the fans are going to be very happy with that one, just to see how you guys can flip it around on the map. So fantastic stuff there. And my final question for you, Scump, is, you know, we have been really focusing quite a lot and quite heavily on Dashy because obviously he's the new face of the town in Chicago. And it's, you know, it's one of those things where I think a lot of fans and even just a lot of people here, even at the Call of Duty League, are putting quite a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Dashy to perform based on kind of what we've seen motivational-wise from him in previous seasons of Call of Duty. So what is it like having Dashy as a teammate? What can we expect as fans of OpTic?
I mean, Bruce is back on his grind. Bruce has been amazing thus far. I know a lot of people, like you said, were worried about him, especially with his track record last year. But I mean, he stayed at my house for 3 weeks. He'd come in and say, "I'm home," and like stuff like that. So he also says that he's never leaving. No one's ever getting his spot again. So I think that Bruce is here to stay. And he said facts in the background. Bruce has been awesome thus far. I mean, he's obviously super, super talented, and it's been a pleasure teaming with him as well as in Black Ops 4. So I wouldn't worry about Bruce. I'll keep him in check. He knows that. So, yeah, I think Bruce is good. No need to worry.
I like that. I like that. Papa Scum. I love it. Bruce is home.
Yeah,
we're very happy.
Someone's got to do it.
We're very excited to see you guys back. And you know, hey, every brick in that wall is back where it belongs. I am so gassed for this season for you guys and the regaining strength that OpTic has had. Thank you so much for joining me again, Scump. And best of luck going forward for the rest of the season, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
There you go, guys. That is going to do it for Scump here. We have quite a banger up next for you. What an epic match. We've got FaZe versus Guerrillas. We're going to head to a quick break, but we got all the rest of the action for the rest of the day coming up right after this.
have so much fun.
Something I really like about Hearthstone, you just never know what's gonna happen.
More ways to play, that's what I want. What is my opponent going to do? How am I going to counterplay that?
Play Hearthstone now!
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by GameFuel. Use code CDL 2021 for a special CDL launch event discount on GameFuel.com. Tournament audio and team listenings are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is opening weekend here at the Atlanta home series, and you see on your screens Atlanta FaZe facing off against the Guerrillas. It is going to be a fun match to watch. Study, yourself and I are still hanging out in the virtual studio.
Yes, we are.
We've got a great view behind us. The city of Atlanta is cheering on their team. I can hear it. The building is actually rattling right now. But I tell you what, man, I'm excited for this. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. First cast. How you feeling right now, Study?
I'm feeling good, man. You know, OpTic, you know, they just 3-0'd, destroyed Paris in that very first series, and I'm looking forward to this series between Atlanta and the Guerrillas, man. This is going to be a battle. It's because both of these players, you know, Atlanta coming off a 3-2 loss and Guerrillas coming off a 3-2 win. I know Atlanta has that fire.
Definitely, man. When we talk about Atlanta, we also got to talk about their opposition. Let's go ahead and meet the Los Angeles Guerrillas.
The Guerrillas getting it done. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of the LAG. Silly finds the first. Lovely teamwork. My God.
Gets dealt with the pressure inside the hill and the double nade from aBeZy.
Salt lines him up, finds himself too.
Vivid just has the one to win against Octane.
And Vivid has got his number. Beautiful round. Fantastic execution from the LA Guerrillas.
Oh, yeah.
Love that video of the Los Angeles Guerrillas. Always great to see how these teams are showing off their talent, and talent indeed, my friend. We've got Vivid obviously joining us back from the Guerrillas last season. Other than that, a total change-up in the roster department for LA. They bring in aBeZy, Assault, and Silly. These guys have obviously won a world championship in the past together back in World War II. Study, there's a lot to like when it comes down to this Guerrillas team.
Yeah, I love this team from top to bottom, man. Like you said it, former world champions back in World War II. The only difference is they had Ace instead of Vivid. And Vivid was a phenomenal player for the Guerrillas last year. Unfortunately, they did not have the seasons that they wanted, but they have a lot of faith in this young player to come in, especially with the veteran presence that he has around him now, to make that impact for the Guerrillas.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Vivid play. Really, I think this is a good opportunity for him, kind of coming into a full official season, his first kind of opening start when we talk about kind of having a full season of play. But it's not going to be an easy, really an easy first match by any means when we talk about our home team. Let's go ahead and meet the Atlanta FaZe.
The game has turned on its head.
Run! Run! Get onto the point! Cellium finds himself two more. Oh, baby! Absolutely slayed. What a magnificent comeback from Atlanta.
We thought Atlanta FaZe was scary last year. Looking at this team on paper, it is terrifying. Just to put it lightly. aBeZy, Cellium, and Simp back together, obviously coming into this next season. And the roster change they actually decide to make is to bring in Arcitys. That man Alec is absolutely disgusting, Study. I mean, this group together, again, we talk about history, kind of world championship history. You also have Arcitys, aBeZy, and Simp, who won back in 2019 with eUnited. A lot of chemistry here as well, and really to have Arcitys joining this team, there's a lot of people who said this may be like the best roster change of the season. I think it absolutely has to be up there, if not regarded as one of the best, given the way that Atlanta FaZe looked last year.
Yeah, so when we made the adjustment to go from 5v5 to 4v4, you know, they were teaming last year with MajorManiak and Priestahh. When you're dropping both of them, obviously, going back to 4v4, you need to keep one. So they decided to switch both and bring in Arcitys. And this team is unbelievable. Like you said, 3 world champions again on this roster with a player like Cellium, who was basically an MVP throughout the entire last year. Man, he was just out of this world. So this is going to be an insane matchup because I know that they did lose 3-2 in the Kickoff Classic versus their team in Florida. But they got to be coming out with fire right now going versus the Guerrillas here.
Oh, they definitely do, man. Like I said, let's go and check out their game fuel keys to victory here first for the Atlanta FaZe. And it really kind of is exactly what you talked about, right? Shake off that loss at kickoff versus Florida. They go 0-2 in search and destroy. Overall KD is 0.81. Not common for the Atlanta FaZe, especially last year. Obviously, have to work on making the right decisions versus a very disciplined LAG team. A very good note, right, when we talk about the other team that they'll be facing off against is a very disciplined team. One note for Atlanta FaZe last year was Cellium had even brought it up during the offseason. Hey, the one mistake that we made constantly was our rotations and hardpoint. Kind of the little things, right? Things that you have to be disciplined about. That is kind of the definition of the Los Angeles Guerrillas, as we'll go and take a look at their game fuel keys to victory here as well, Stud.
And then you got to further keys to victory for the Guerrillas. Take advantage of Atlanta's mistakes and prepare for their slaying. We know exactly what kind of players are on Atlanta FaZe. Players are going to have to step up if you're on the Guerrillas. I'm looking at aBeZy. 1.2 for the kickoff. He's going to have to keep that up. Papa App, like I said, keep up that slaying department, man. 92 and 76. 1.2. You know, the next player that was next to him was Assault with a 1.03. But you're going up against an Atlanta FaZe team that I feel has that fire since losing that kickoff classic. And you have to be able to keep up with them in the slaying department.
And it's not going to be easy to keep up with the tiny tears, to keep up with those guys. It's going to be a tall task without question. But I think the talking point on aBeZy is great, right? Because, I mean, he was the player to look out for when it came down to the Kickoff Classic and their victory versus the Seattle Surge. I mean, that was huge for him. And I feel like, obviously, you're a guy who's teamed with him before. A lot of history when it comes down to playing with Brian. You know, and from your playing history, how much difference does it make when aBeZy is playing the same way that he did just a few weeks ago?
Well, the thing that's so scary about aBeZy is even when we were teaming back in the day, the guy just always had a really slow start to every single Call of Duty. And now you see him right off the rip being the best slayer on this team. He's starting off at a whole new level, man. So it's all about just staying consistent for him. You know, he is a father now, so he has that to play for as well. The guy's he's just ready for action, man. And I'm so excited to see Father Rap back in action.
Absolutely. And, you know, we talk about aBeZy. You know, I remember at the beginning, I think it was Black Ops 4, there was constantly a lot of discussion with him and his teammates. I remember, like, watching the streams, he was like, I just don't understand 5v5. Like, you know, there was a lot of situations where he'd find himself out in the open, and we know with MW and how trading obviously worked last season, it was never really easy for players to kind of go off and do their own thing. Obviously, there were some moments from time to time, but I think aBeZy definitely is in a much more comfortable place when we talk about 4 versus 4. Here are maps and modes, Crossroads, Hardpoint to start. Then we got a few garrisons, just a few, in fact, all of them, to wind things out. Some good old Miami Search and Destroy. It's a great place to be. It's a great way to kind of round out this series. If we do obviously get to it, something to note, Crossroads, Hardpoint. Study, right? That was the map that Atlanta FaZe did lose to Florida Mutineers. It was a pretty dominant loss, around 250, 120, somewhere in kind of that space. So this could be a great opportunity for Guerrillas. On the flip side, it also could be something that Atlanta FaZe has been playing constantly over and over again since their loss to Florida, specifically on that map.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see, man. As we load in, I'm looking at the players, at least the sub-players on both sides. The Tiny Terrors versus aBeZy and Vivid. Don't worry, we'll come up with a nickname for them eventually. But the Tiny Terrors on a map like this, man, it's going to be so scary. AK-70 fuel used all over the map. Don't forget that P3 to P4 hardpoint. You need to have those back spawns because you can chain both. That's what's going to be the opening for this map right here for me.
Yeah, that's a great point to call out. When we talk about this beginning, Atlanta FaZe with the advantageous spawns in regards to P2 over here in Garage. But as you called it, a very fast-paced map, a map that I'm sure Simp and aBeZy are going to feel quite at home on, despite, again, the loss to Florida at kickoff. But get things started here early. It's Silly winning the initial engagement now versus Simp, as going to be Silly, along with the nice support from his old teammate in Assault. And just like that, due to that map positioning, it is going to be the Guerrillas who already off the break with the spawns for P2.
Yeah, that was huge. You saw Vivid, he dropped down ice and had that one-on-one play with that guy that usually plays that AS&D. He was able to walk out with that gunfight. Once his teammates were able to pick up all the kills on the hill, they were able to flip, re-go down once again for the for FaZe. This is bad, man. They're going to be going towards that P2. There's going to be 20 seconds remaining on P1. 30 seconds for the LA Guerrillas. This is a great start to this first map for the Guerrillas.
It is, and Assault's pretty much primed it ready with the XM4, just trying to utilize the movement to the best of his ability. He'll get taken down. FaZe will grab the remaining seconds, but really kind of given the positioning, you're overall very happy with that. If you're Guerrillas, right? And in regards to that first hill, it's never easy. Plus, you flip spawns in the very first few engagements. However, we talked about it. Crossroads, it can very quickly start to go back and forth, and we're starting to learn about that very early on. Just as I'm talking about the highlights of Guerrillas, they also end up flipping out. Atlanta now with control. When we talk about Garage, aBeZy ends up getting taken down after the 5-3. Simp's trying to be there for some remaining control as they'll take down Apathy. Still, presence being felt from the Guerrillas, a valuable 30 seconds left.
And if you're Atlanta FaZe, it's the best case scenario. You decide to all push through that P1 area. They were able to chain 3 kills back to back, forcing all the players from the Guerrillas to spawn all the way on the opposite side, and it's a great bounce back for Atlanta. Now the only thing is, Guerrillas are going to have the spawns for P3 and for P4. How are they going to decide to play this? Are they going to decide to just flood out this hill or play towards that hop-up?
That's a great call, and that's what LAG is trying to be aware of, is kind of that spread, multiple lanes. They're going to be attempted by Atlanta FaZe to try to go for the flip, really, because as you talked about it, P3 to P4, that's where you're looking to lock down some time, and Guerrillas, they want to try to play this one carefully, play this one passively, don't give up too much time. So he's going for a few of the pre-fires into the multiple angles to get inside of fire, actually toward the outside, able to drop down Arcitys, 40 seconds still left in the hill. FaZe getting majority of this time. It looks as if toward that outskirts position, toward back rock, it's a wide open spawn. In Atlanta, they might have exploited that.
Yeah, Atlanta did that beautifully. They just all stacked the hill. Once they were able to chain the 2-3 kills together, eventually a player was able to push out of that back and eventually give his team the spawns. This is a great setup out of Atlanta FaZe. There's going to be 20 seconds remaining on this P3 hardpoint. They didn't even need to go around that cliffside to try to flip it. And that was the perfect case scenario. Once you're able to chain a couple kills in towards that P3, players should automatically start spawning out if you start pushing up the map a little better. And so far, Atlanta FaZe, after playing a terrible P1 hardpoint, they have bounced back tremendously in the next 2.
You look at player number 8, Apathy. He's waiting for the hop-up. He wants to try to have his teammates rush to the front so he can try to make a play in the back, and Arcitys is aware of it. A clean 4 down for Atlanta FaZe. Overall dominance being displayed over at Temp. The guys have got to be hyped. In fact, let's go to an Astro Gaming listen-in with the Atlanta FaZe.
There's one trophy there.
That's right there.
Cat. I don't see him, Cat. Fence. I'm staying down.
Right.
Cat. Fence.
Fire door. Back to the fire door. Fire door. I did not flip. He's telling you assault.
They spawn in front of me. They're hitting you. Take your time. Just hold fire. One trophy on him. Push your fire. Back door. Destroy the trophy. No, he's
front door. Yeah. He pinched it.
There's
2, one's on fire. One more outer.
Nice.
Outer.
He challenged me.
I'm going with you, fire.
I don't see anything. I got a trophy. Leave out. I'm trying out. Many tires.
Look at your outer. I have your outer.
I'm watching.
I think
there's a guy tires. I'm hard flash.
He's on tire.
I'm getting your cat. Oh, shit, I have your cat.
I'm
tires.
Alright,
stay down. I don't know. Justin, just one more truck. Truck. Good job. 4. I'm on streaks. Yeah, they're still there. I'm turning around just in case.
In back.
On the truck. On the truck. Once one, yes. Maybe didn't.
Chance to listen in with the comms of Atlanta FaZe, what Arcitys brought in from Chicago last season, studied for pretty much that exact reason. They want somebody to kind of speak up during the big moments, and Arcitys absolutely can provide that for this team. And in combination with the slang from guys like aBeZy, Simp, and Cellium, it makes for a phenomenal combo. Simp currently finding himself on a 6 as Atlanta looks to try to stack upon the lead. And we'll see if Guerrillas can hold on to this. We saw constant spawn flips last time around. FaZe looking to try to make their way pretty much toward that back crate position. Apathy pretty much trying to be a thorn in their side as Atlanta walk through the door, and now they've got the second.
Once again, all the players from Atlanta FaZe just pushing through that P1 side. You saw a player from the LA Guerrillas spawn out, get a parallel spawn with one of the players from FaZe. They're just trying to do everything that they can to hold this remaining time. 30 seconds are going to be left on P2, and it's looking like Guerrillas have finally settled the storm here, able to pick up some time, eventually break that 100-point mark. But like I said, man, the way that Atlanta FaZe held that very first rotation of P3 and P4, if you're the Guerrillas, you need to break this nice and early. You need to be able to flip these spawns on their head and eventually have someone sit back there this time so they don't flip on the backside.
And it looks as if it might be Silly trying to go toward the hop-up. Definitely going to try to play spoiler, and maybe even as the Guerrillas try to engage from the front, they may be thinking more long-term, as aBeZy does find the unfortunate team kill, also drops from the front door. Here comes the opportunity for Silly. Shout out to the observers. You've given us all angles. And in the meantime, take a look at where those spawns are. Yeah, Atlanta, they spawn out. Guerrillas, they now have the most favorable ones for P3 to P4. They also have the time inside of the hill. So that's Guerrillas, kind of that determination that we saw from them, a roster who's going to really work on the small things. They decide to kind of sacrifice a few players from the front in order to get the ending exchange. At least for now, it's working out steady.
Yeah, perfect case scenario, man. He just calls a distraction at the front side of the hill, gives Silly enough time to work around that backside. Didn't even need to pick up a kill, but eventually gives his team the spawns. Now, Atlanta FaZe are going to be able to pick up the remaining 15 seconds on towards P3. But you see the LA Guerrillas spawning out towards hop-up. If you're Atlanta FaZe, all you have to do is just bum rush the front side, but unfortunately, Assault is able to take down aBeZy and eventually slow down their push. If you're the Guerrillas, hold the full 60 here. This can get you right back into this game.
Yeah, definitely can. This is the hill. Do it on a few of the streaks inbound. All players staying alive, but at least that player who was actually hanging out in the hill, I believe that was Vivid. He gets cut down. Now, pretty much toward that back rock position is where the remaining two are going to be. That's Silly, that's Vivid. They both get dropped, and now the Atlanta FaZe, they will take control over Tent, pitching one themselves. A Simp from the side. How about possibly 3 in a row? No, Vivid's going to stop that one, so some control still gained from FaZe. Vivid trying to do anything he can from the front side. Some attacks from the flank onto Silly. Cellium's able to win it. Hill's going to be vacant for the moment, but as the dust settles, it is Arcitys who is there to grab the remaining seconds. FaZe, it's only just a matter of time, it seems, in a major lead situation, grabbing the remaining time here at P4. And now here on the reset, the Guerrillas, they've got a lot of work to do, my friend.
Yeah, if you're the Guerrillas, you basically need to play flawless hardpoint from this point out. Arcitys 25 and 18, Simp 20 and 15. You see all the players from the Guerrillas are basically negative. The only one positive is going to be Silly. We're looking at aBeZy on this map, 17 and 23 for the young man. And he was just not able to keep up with the slaying department of Atlanta FaZe. Trying everything that they can, try to fight back from this P1 hard point. Atlanta FaZe only needs 7 seconds. 3 going to go down, 4 go down for the Guerrillas. Time is just going to tick away, and it's looking like Atlanta FaZe are going to walk away with map number 1.
Yep, 250. Score limit reached. 250-156 is the final score, and you could argue at times it looked even more dominant than that.
Yeah.
As your home team able to grab their first map in the set, and really you kind of called it well, Study. Really in that first set of rotations, it was the P3 to P4 flip. In the second set of rotations, it was the P2 break. Also them kind of getting some good time late on the second set of rotations. But again, I think it was a few days ago, people were talking about the speed of Dallas Empire. You have to be prepared for that roster of Seattle. I think it was yesterday, actually. They couldn't keep up with the speed. Same situation here for Guerrillas. They couldn't really keep up with the speed, and on a map like Crossroads, it just happens to be one of the fastest maps in the game. Really, a lot of situations, a lot of spawns constantly going around. I think that's also what kind of allows for Arcitys to be such a great piece for them, is that they are a fast team and they're not playing too out of control. And if they do, that's exactly what Arcitys is there to do, to try to bring rather to kind of bring the team back, as he has a fantastic game here, 27 and 19. Cellium, the other AR, finishes 26 and 18. SMGs were still great as well. But in general, it was FaZe taking control early and holding on to it late.
Yeah, man, and if you're the Guerrillas, you need to be able to bounce back into search and destroy, man. You know, it was just a couple plays that just didn't go in their favor. They had the P3 to the P4 spawns, but then they had no one sitting in the back. So once Atlanta FaZe were able to chain a couple kills together, they were able to force all of Guerrilla out of the play. And it was just, that was that opening point where they just needed to hold those spawns. They wouldn't have gave Simp any streaks there, and it probably would have been a lot closer of a map.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Guerrillas, they're hoping to to learn from their map 1 woes and try to improve a little bit when it comes down to this next search and destroy. Atlanta FaZe versus Guerrillas, Game 2 S&D up right after this.
They say I've been lucky, but ambition is not luck. It's a choice. My name is Cesar Skies Bueno, and I chose to invest in my game.
Never know what's gonna happen.
More ways to play, that's what I want. What is my opponent gonna do? How am I gonna counterplay that?
Play Hearthstone now!
So much fun.
What's the point of grinding if you ain't gon' ball? What you doing when the money call? Gotta get it now, ain't no time to stall. Tell them I want everything, yeah, I want it all. What's the point of grinding if you ain't gon' ball? I gotta get to the cream. I've been a cream of the crop. I gotta get to the green. Already been at the top. Shawty was super show, man. Fucking the game to fly. I want everything, yeah, I want it all. What's the point of grinding if you ain't gon' ball?
Want to help influence the future of the Call of Duty League? Join the Call of Duty League Recon Core and share your feedback on everything from league matches and teams, sponsors, and brand partners. Oh boy, Study, like we said, man, it's been a great day 2 so far of the launch, or I guess you could say kind of opening weekend here from the Atlanta FaZe. Obviously treating us right. The city has been absolutely excellent, at least from our window view up to this point, but still, man, it's been a blast, and this series has also been pretty interesting. A nice game 1 hard point, but again, it's Atlanta FaZe who walks away with it, kind of fixing upon their woes from last week at the Kickoff Classic versus Florida. They win it, and now we're looking at some good old search and destroy. By the way, love the virtual set. I know my hands look massive. Everybody's been commenting about it. It's just the way the set works, but you know, hey man, like I said, I'm just gonna crack open some game fuel here and just roam on to the search and destroy. Study, how about yourself?
Oh man, I'm looking forward to this search and destroy, but one player I'm specifically looking at for FaZe is gonna be Simp. We know what type of beast he is with that sniper. Now that he doesn't have it in his hands, what kind of player is he going to be? Is he going to be that aggressive sub player? Is he going to be pulling out that AR, being passive a little bit? I'm just excited to see how he's able to change his entire gameplay without that sniper.
That's a great call, man. I mean, a lot of the highlights that we talked about Simp, you know, it's been a short but phenomenal career, really in the last 2 seasons, obviously now in his 3rd. A lot of those highlights do come with the sniper, so that's an excellent point. And I think on a map like Garrison Search and Destroy, there's been a lot of talk on offense, right? How are we going to be able to really make something happen on the offense side? It's going to be fun to watch how both teams try to be flexible, to try to, you know, pull out some interesting notes here or there. That's when you got guys like Arcitys who are going to be providing a lot of input, a lot of creative players on that team. Same thing for Guerrillas, right? A lot of veterans on this team, and it cannot be understated, right? Vivid, not an amazing game 1. I think they're looking out for him, especially in these search and destroys, primarily this one, that could put them at an even score versus Atlanta here.
Yeah, man, you need to tie up this series right here because we know about the Kickoff Classic. Atlanta FaZe did lose Crossroads Hardpoint. This time they're starting it off different, winning that map. They did lose 2 search and destroys in that. I'm not really expecting them to do so, but if the Guerrillas have an answer, this is where it needs to be.
Definitely round 1 kicking off. Atlanta on the offense, quickly making their way up to the walkway. And aBeZy, going to see a lot of those first bloods this season. As Assault pretty much has to get backed up from his lights position. He gets met with a few AR shots from Simp from afar. At least they look like AR shots. Very well could be the 74U. But nonetheless, it's Atlanta with full control. They've also got top green as well. And it's pretty much just allowing for the opposition to try to run on in. I think it was LAG who were trying to play off of the bomb plant, but that one's not happening for the moment. The trade is there, and now it's going to be 3 versus 3. Cellium on the outskirts of A. No presence there, and Arcitys finally feels calm to go ahead and plant that bomb down.
Okay, so now it's going to be a 3v3. A retake from Guerrillas needs to come in. You're going to have 2 players, and Cellium and aBeZy trying to work towards top green. Simp with the big first blood, able to get out with his life. Beautiful play out of Simp. Just stall the time, man, and make aBeZy work 2 times harder trying to locate you. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Cellium's going to go down. Last player is going to be left. It's going to be Assault. And that was a great first round of Atlanta FaZe. You could just tell the aggression right there towards that B bomb was everything. aBeZy was able to open up that first blood in towards that lights area. Forces all the players from the Guerrillas to eventually play back. They know that the plan is eventually going to go down. They just couldn't put themselves in a better position to stop it. Good first round of Atlanta.
We talked about a study. I mean, there's been tons of stats going out about Garrison S&D, how hard it is to win on offense. Don't let that fool you. That was not easy, but that was also just very dominant from Atlanta early. You'll take as many offensive rounds as you can get as the Guerrillas open to mimic, I guess, maybe what FaZe just showed them how to do. Looking to get an aggressive run, at least off the start from aBeZy. He does have his good old AR and Assault now back together again. Assault, very solid when we talk about that M4, but pressure early, utility, nades are out. And the attack is prone over at B, and aBeZy's aware of it.
Yeah, Guerrillas is just trying to find an opening, trying to get some information on the map to where players from the Atlanta FaZe are located. Cellium, you can see he's playing it totally different from Simp. Simp got aggressive in green and just made that player who's playing A, which is going to be Arcitys, eventually play for that challenge. Time is going to be ticking if you're the Guerrillas. You need to work towards his bomb site. It looks like they're committing towards B, trying to get aBeZy out of his positioning.
No aBeZy in that crawl space, what he can do. We saw it at the kickoff. Now does manage to get the plant off, but can he escape with his life? He will not. Cellium is there for the overall exchange as Atlanta now holding on the man count advantage. Vivid able to level the score now to a 2 versus 2. Again, bomb was planted prior to the team fight that we witness. Vivid is hanging out in that crawl space. Meanwhile, it is going to be Arcitys from the top side taking down 1, now to a 1 versus 1. Arcitys versus Cellium. Arcitys still has some work to do. He has to try to seek him out. Does he know exactly where he is? He earns the call out, able to find the kill. Can he get there in time? And it looks as if not going to be the case. Cannot get over the barrier as the bomb will explode. Arcitys sitting on a nice 4-0 spree, but unfortunately the round, it doesn't come along with it.
Great 2v1 out of Cellium. I would have liked Simp not to commit to that challenge and just play with Arcitys a little more. Once Simp went down, Cellium, all he had to do, just lay down, saw enough time. He knew Arcitys was going to play for the kill and not hop that bomb. Great 2v1 out of the Guerrillas. Out of Cellium right there to tie it up 1-1. That could have got out of hand real quick if Simp would have not challenged that. Being up 2-0 on a map like this can get really scary and out of hand quickly.
Good adjustments from Guerrillas. Back-to-back offensive wins. I'll go and bite my tongue for the time. A lot of teams clearly making some adjustments from the kickoff. You notice a lot more kind of standoffish defensive prowess.
Yeah.
Trying to look for the picks as aBeZy will be happy to eliminate as many trophies as he can get. Those things are absolutely killer, I tell you what. aBeZy taking some fire off the rip. We know what he can do in the early stages of rounds. Is happy to sacrifice his life as long as it means a first blood can come away with it. As the optic barrel explodes and aBeZy with a nice line sight, Atlanta look to continue this attack over at B and establish that map positioning. The twinkle toes of aBeZy. Good night, says aBeZy. Atlanta are left to morale.
Now in the 3v3 situation, 40 seconds remaining. Guerrillas know that Atlanta FaZe is working towards B. aBeZy is going to completely give up his positioning. Trying to work towards that side pocket area. 28 seconds remaining on the clock. It's looking like Arcitys and the boys from FaZe are trying to wrap this towards A. They're able to open up with a kill onto Assault in the backside. aBeZy with a big trade. Here comes Arcitys taking down Silly. Last player alive is going to be aBeZy. Left in a 2v1 situation. Needs to play quick.
And not quick enough. aBeZy does everything he can. I want to say he does shut down Arcitys, who is obviously on the bomb. What was that, like a 6-0, 7-0 start? Great work, but it isn't going to be enough, as we'll get to watch this play kind of toward the ending phases again. The 1 versus 2, a tall task. And he does shut down Arcitys. So that streak does get eliminated. Obviously, you don't win the round, but you're at least happy to get Arcitys off of that spree, who started off 6-0. Heading into this new one, again, offense has been great up to this point. We'll see if Guerrillas can possibly fire one away again. aBeZy with that bomb, and we talk about crawl space attempts. It's always going to be B, and when we talk about this map in particular, it's just really because of how skinny it is, right? There's not a whole lot of movement opportunities. If you want to try to get into top green, good luck. There's always going to be a defensive player there, especially off the start of rounds. Still is going to try to toss off some utility, get some bit of awareness. And aBeZy also switches over to the XM4, so Silly finds the first blood. They may have an opportunity to work. At the least, that pick is going to separate Atlanta because they want to have somebody in green. So 2 players guaranteed at B. We'll see if the Guerrillas can play off that man count advantage.
Yeah, having that player in green is going to be huge, but he's going to get taken down by Cellium. Great shots coming out of lights. Assault's able to go on a trade onto aBeZy. 40 seconds are going to be remaining. They don't need to rotate like the exact same thing that FaZe just did. There was 30 seconds remaining. FaZe just had to all go through mid-map and eventually rotate towards A. But they do have the man advantage. Simp's in a great position, able to take down aBeZy. Note there's another player in dark, but he's going to get traded. Now it's Assault and Silly versus Cellium. Cellium going to go through. Unfortunately, he's going to get taken down there. But great adjustments out of the Guerrillas there. Not to play too fast, not to worry about the plant too much. Arcitys tried to be aggressive in towards top green, but got taken down by Silly. It was a good opening kill for them. Tied it up 2-2.
Tied up 2-2 indeed. Good situation there for LAG. I thought Simp may possibly be there to spoil the party, right? Kind of hanging out toward that vent position. Obviously finds one, but you never know with Simp. Obviously a lot of opportunities to walk away with those 2 pieces, those triple kills. A lot of potential there, but the Guerrillas evening things up now at 2-2 as we'll head into our 5th. Atlanta back with the objective on their back, and aBeZy a 1-4 start. You'd like to think if a few of those can start to equal out the trades, they'll be in a good position. And on the opposite side of that walkway is going to be Vivid. He'll quickly get out of dodge. Really, it's just utility, right? Just trying to get some information on both sides.
Yeah, you saw right off the rip, Vivid and Silly were trying to work towards that top green area. aBeZy was able to spot him, force him out of there, and aBeZy's playing back towards that B bomb. They know that they're not working for the plant. They like to play that rat back. They have full control of top green. This is where this round can get out of hand if you're an Atlanta FaZe fan. 38 seconds remaining. They have every different line of sight to get that guy off. Atlanta FaZe need to come in and make a play, at least get a first blood to make this round possible.
You saw Simp on the other side of the ladder, looking for his opportunity. As a big team fight occurs, Atlanta now man disadvantage, trying to tear us up, make that now 1, which is going to be Simp. 1 versus 3, a very tall task. Let's get some nice shots onto Vivid, but the full kill is not going to be inbound. Does have that XM4 to 74U combo, so you'll take that given the situation for the moment. Does shut down 1 onto Vivid, shuts down 1 onto aBeZy. A good attempt, but just because of the way the objective sat, obviously you can't get there to plant the bomb. Those kills are nice. They won't really equal out to too much, but still, a situation where maybe peeking out just a little bit too much from LAG. Anyway, they'll win the round regardless.
Yeah, that adjustment right there on defense, just to take control of top green, was all that they needed to do. Once they did that, you forced the players from Atlanta FaZe to consistently try to keep their information on it, have people preeming it, using their attacks to try to force those players out. By the time they tried to commit towards that B fight, they were all set up. Just able to take him off that bomb site, able to win a tremendous defense there. Now, if you're Atlanta FaZe, I would like them to be aggressive as well. Try to play aggressive towards mid-map, aggressive towards green, and that's exactly what they're going to do here.
Initial engagement, green to top floating. Always want to keep in mind as aBeZy, a great two-piece on the flank. Very well could break open the round, but just as that happens, the ARs from Guerrillas are now going to leave Arcitys all by himself. He's going to have to do this solo, which both players have a good understanding of where he is. Shuts down the other AR in assault. Can he stay alive? Arcitys decides to dip down into bottom middle. Arcitys versus aBeZy. A huge round for both of them. aBeZy does get the timing, and aBeZy gets the kill. Wow, a good situation there for Arcitys. An impressive attempt, really set up by this early two-piece coming in from aBeZy. But it's really kind of the AR combo through the middle of the round that gives LAG that 1v1.
Yeah, man. Once aBeZy popped that two-piece, I would have liked for Atlanta FaZe to just let him die. Every situation, you don't always have to play for the trade. Your teammate pulls off a two-piece, no one should be able to give these free kills to aBeZy or to Assault. They were just both posted up, waiting for those players to come in and try to trade. Unfortunately, it went from a 2v4 situation to a 1v2. And that's not exactly what you want if you're Atlanta FaZe there. You need to be able to close out those rounds.
Definitely do. aBeZy decides to get aggressive push out toward green. He sacrifices his life, and we'll find out if it's actually going to be worth it. Arcity's able to turn and burn onto Vivid. It looked like it was going to be the A hit. That's why we see the rotation come in from player 6, Assault, and now he's the final one alive. Wondering what just happened to my teammates. Where'd they go? And the round's over. Atlanta FaZe, successful offense, and a very interesting attempt there over at green that turns into a very fast rotation.
Yeah, they switched the gear. They gained all the information from these early rounds that Seany is the only player that plays at that A bomb site. You saw Vivid one time push on towards trap green, but unfortunately he wasn't going to be there, so they gained all that information. They fly out at Seany, get the trades. Arcitys switches to a submachine gun as well, was able to pick up 2 kills from top green, eventually slide in and get this guy off the rat hole. There's a great aggression out of Atlanta FaZe, and for them to fight back into this map, I feel like they need to stay on point with that aggression. Keep the gunfights in their favors, in the faces of the Guerrilla members.
It's a great call. Atlanta FaZe, stay aggressive, stay keen. I love that. Everybody probably thinking in that moment, during the clutch in that last round, aBeZy's alive, he's got to be in the crawl space. And that's exactly where he is. A great lockdown. As Cellium able to walk away with the early first blood. That one going to be on Assault. Normally hangs out toward top caution. Vivid, this time around also with the AR, able to trade things out, but the dust begins to settle. 2 versus 2. Cellium able to find one Seany there for the trade. And how about this 1v1? aBeZy now versus Seany. Really decides to take a look at the crawl space.
Make or break rounds. Bomb is going to be down. Top bridge steps. aBeZy has an assault rifle in his hand. Time is going to be ticking. Seany's going to decide to go pick up that bomb. 30 seconds remaining on the clock. Going to have to work towards one of these bomb sites, but aBeZy's in a great position to spot him. Now, both players have the knowledge that they have to know where their players are. Flash is going to come in for Seany. Back down aBeZy a little bit, but aBeZy's in a great position to just try to get this guy off bomb. Seany trying to push into the lights area. 10 seconds remaining on the clock. aBeZy is going to be set up perfectly. Would he check A? Nope. It's looking like he's going to go straight towards B. Take down Seany. Huge 1v1 for aBeZy there to keep his team alive in this map. Because to go 4-4 instead of 5-3 is a tremendous difference.
Nice shots coming in from Vivid earlier on in the round. Obviously with the XM4, but really in that kind of ending phase there, Study, it's aBeZy not playing fast. In fact, he's not a member of the First Blood. He's actually the one who stays alive toward the end of the round, doesn't have to play aggressive, and obviously plays the situation well. If you're still in that spot, really a difficult one to try and come away with. As now we're level at 4-4. Atlanta now on the attack, and we'll see what that presence looks like instead of green. It looks as if they do have aBeZy and Simp both established in there, and that is a terrifying duo to have to face off against. Arcitys does spot the head of aBeZy, decides to say, hey, go and hold on to this nade, why don't you? aBeZy actually ends up dying because of an own nade. And there we have it, 1 versus 4 already off the start from Seany, and best of luck, Justin Fargo.
Arcitys just read that absolutely beautifully. He decides to pre-nade in towards that rat hole area. Had aBeZy try to get out of that situation, nades himself, but then he's in those pipes area, peeks out towards lights, was able to take down both with that XM4. Arcitys right there, really stepping up with this team needed to. Now they're 1 round away from closing out this map number 2 and being up 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, I know the aBeZy obviously dies in that crawl space, but Arcity's a big difference maker. Why that ends up taking place, really doing it all so far in the search and destroy. They look great in the initial hard point, and now are sitting 1 round away from being up 2-0. And there we have it, Arcitys 12-5. I mean, I think it's fair to say last year, Study, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of talking points behind Chicago last year, you know, in regards to having Gunless, to not having Gunless. They bring in Prestinni. I mean, a lot of situations going on. Arcitys, despite running the flex, is absolutely excellent last year. I know it may not kind of pay off in the stats, but this guy is such an excellent addition for the Atlanta FaZe in a number of different ways, not even just in his talent, but also because of the intangibles that he brings. And obviously here in the search and destroy, playing a big difference. We'll see if he can maybe have a nice highlight over here at Radar, but it is the first blood found from Guerrillas.
Yeah, aBeZy was able to open up with the first blood. Arcitys able to get the trade. At 2 places probably in his favor here, but the player's going to back down from green. Now, if you're the Guerrillas here, you have to work up towards this B-bomb site, try to take control of this lights area. There's not going to be a single player from Atlanta FaZe that's trying to ruin their party, except for the one player that's going to be in rat hole. They have no one gaining information on that. They try to work towards this bomb site. aBeZy is going to be able to take down the bomb carrier in aBeZy now. 25 seconds remaining. aBeZy does have that bomb down, has all the information. Vivid is going to be one shot in top green. Cellium able to take down Assault. Now it's a Vivid in a 1v3.
Vivid in the 1 versus 3. They know exactly where he is. Arcitys here. Can't win the fight. A nice engagement for Vivid, but he has no time left and no teammates to help him. As Atlanta walk away with the search and destroy at 6-4. Arcitys drops a bomb as Atlanta respond off of what was a really good attempt from Guerrillas in a lot of different ways. I think they, really in this match, I think they kind of showed a lot of the CDL how to play offense in a lot of different situations. A lot of adjustments made from that kickoff, from the kickoff classic, but it is going to be Atlanta who holds on and now sits at a 2-0 lead.
And that is super scary if you're the Guerrillas. They lost the series to the Florida Mutineers at the kickoff by losing a hard point and both search and destroys. They won their very first hard point that they ended up losing throughout the kickoff, and then they win their second search and destroy. Now you got to try to beat these guys in 2 respawns and the search. We weren't able to keep up in that very first map in the slaying department. Now you're going into a control onto Garrison. This is going to be hard, man. If you're the LA Guerrillas, you guys need someone to step up big, and that person that I'm looking for is going to be aBeZy. Like I said, leading the kickoff with a 1.2, guy needs to step up, especially in the respawns.
Yeah, definitely, man. A lot of players for Guerrillas to kind of be aware of when we talk about kind of the future of this game, different players to look out for, but Arcitys dropping a 13-6. Definitely a big player, again, to kind of keep in mind throughout the remainder of this series. And as you alluded to, it's Study, really kind of when it comes down to control, a lot of things to be looking out for in terms of the Guerrillas. I think Atlanta won this at kickoff. I want to say that when LAG ended up playing Seattle, I believe they lost it. So if we're talking about recent performances, it is Atlanta that has the advantage. How much do you take from kickoff? I think you take a little bit just because given the timing of the season right now, but some good performances as of late on this map for Atlanta.
Yeah, man. If you're going into this map, you're up 2-0. You got to be feeling really good. You make the adjustments from the kickoff, win a search and destroy, win that crossroads hard point. Now you're going into a Garrison control. Like you said, Guerrillas has lost it. They have won it throughout the kickoffs. I just don't know how they're going to be able to fight back in this series. Hopefully they can and give me that answer and in control.
Yeah, let's go and take a look quickly at our search and destroy performance. Obviously, our U.S. Army tactical play, this one coming in round 8. And really, it is going to be the 1 versus 1, the big situation here for aBeZy. And this obviously could have given, now that we look back at it, Guerrillas the 5-3 advantage. Maybe you take this round, you're thinking differently for Guerrillas for the future. It was an offense for the Guerrillas as well, so if they were able to take this, able to win the 1v1, maybe you like their chances there. But again, we talk about aBeZy, one of the fastest, if not the fastest player in the CDL, has to slow it up to clutch out this 1v1, and he's able to do it for his team.
Huge play out of aBeZy, man. Every time you talk about aBeZy, you're always talking about aggression, never being passive. And that was such a huge 1v1 to tie the entire map up 4-4.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, like I said, it's been a great series up to this point. Atlanta finding themselves up 2-0. However, when we come back, we've actually got Lottie standing by with Paul Hamilton of the Atlanta FaZe.
They say I've been lucky, but ambition is not luck. It's a choice. My name is CDL Bueno, and I chose to invest in my game.
More ways to play, that's what I want. What is my opponent going to do? How am I going to counterplay that?
Play Hearthstone now!
The Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Scump, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by USAA Insurance. We offer insurance that's made for the military community to help them easily protect what they've worked hard for.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Atlanta home series. It is opening weekend here for the CDL, kicking things off in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. It has been an excellent start to opening weekend. We've had a great time here in the virtual city of Atlanta. The crowd has been excellent. I mean, I've been seeing tons of people in the streets talking about how excited they are for this opening weekend. It has been a blast to see Atlanta fans be happy because your roster currently is up 2-0 versus LAG. We actually got a chance, actually Lottie did a few days ago, to catch up with team president Paul Hamilton of FaZe. Let's go ahead and roll that interview.
Paul, it is so lovely to have you join me for a quick catch-up as we're heading into the second season of the Call of Duty League. Now, I must say, I am so excited. I know the fans are so excited, but really, I want to know from you, what has you the most excited about Season 2 of the CDL?
Oh, man, just last year was sort of, you know, we didn't finish the way we had hoped, but just as an owner in this league, I was excited to see how CDL did as a whole. I feel like we gained a lot of momentum seeing how viewership did at the end of the year and how excited and engaged our fans were. Our players were just as enthusiastic, and, you know, I feel like everyone's been dealt, you know, this blow with this pandemic, and I felt like we sort of rolled with the punches as well as anyone could, and I'm excited to improve on last year and hopefully take home the chip.
Hey, that would be fantastic. I honestly, I'm crossing my fingers for you guys. You guys had a really close run at it last year, so I'm excited to see what your new roster is going to build upon. I'm going to actually get to that a bit later on, but first, obviously, it's our brand new season. It has just started, and you know, you guys are hosting the first home series of the year. What does it mean to Atlanta FaZe to have that in your hands, to have the first one under your name?
Oh, it means a lot to us. I mean, our fan base, you know, it's been, I think, the best. Some people would argue, but our fan base has been so engaged, and we really want to give back and get them to where they can really see all the work that's going in. Again, with the pandemic, made that a little bit more difficult, but we just built a facility, and our team, as you will see, as each of these matches are cast, when they're not on LAN, our guys will all be in our team facility, and it's a pretty amazing place, and we're all excited for them to be together there, and I think the fans will really enjoy it.
I mean, I'm very excited to see this brand new facility. Tell me more about it. How did that come about? How much work has been put in to get this team facility together, and really, how excited should we be about it?
It's state of the art. It's almost 15,000 feet. It houses, as you know, we own an additional esports team in the Overwatch League called the Atlanta Reign. So both of our teams, plus corporate and back end, will be housed in West Midtown Atlanta in a building that we bought. It was an old print shop, 50-year-old building that we tore to the ground, basically kept 6 walls and rebuilt it with 10 gigs of dark fiber and the most technologically advanced building that you'll ever see.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's not that great then. Just it's average at best.
It's really good.
No, that sounds absolutely amazing. It sounds incredible, Paul. I can't wait to see that. Now, getting on to the team stuff, I've got to get into the nitty-gritty of it. I mean, last season, your roster was unbelievable. I think they were the ones to watch out for, and excuse the pun, but they were red hot. I didn't think your roster could get any better until, obviously, heading into 4v4. You did, of course, drop Priestahh and MajorManiak, and I'm sure those were hard decisions, but you did bring on the force that is Arcitys. Now, how do you think your roster stacks up against the rest of us in CDL?
Well, first of all, that was the most difficult thing I've done in a long time, working with our GM, Eric, and sort of, this is our baby, and we had to have an honest conversation with ourselves about sort of what we could do better as management and as an org. And if it were 5v5, we would not have made a change at all. Absolutely loved our team, would have loved to be on LAN for those events. Again, we couldn't do that, and I think the fans would have loved to see it. But I want to be clear that this team doesn't evolve if we stay 5v5. Preston and Mike are. I have 5 of the greatest guys you could have on a team last year. I mean, the absolute nicest guys in the world. Like, you hear all these stories, but if they're true, they weren't true for Atlanta. Those 5 guys were amazing to work together, and our coaching staff. And again, Eric, headed into this year, 4v4 changed the necessity for the team. It created an environment where the 5 that we put together and how their roles all fit perfectly did not fit in a 4v4. Again, Preston and Mike are exceptional, but the opportunity for us in a 4v4 to plug Arcitys in as an IGL was really important for us, for not only his voice, but the calmness and the difference that is 4v4 versus 5v5. How do I think we stack up? I'd be lying if I said anything other than we built the team to win a championship, and our expectation is that that's what will happen, that we will be the best team throughout the year, and we'll finish on top. That being said, as you know, Lottie, it's Call of Duty, just like any other sport, just like football. Teams have ups and downs. We'll have ups and downs throughout the year. There will be times we look unbeatable. I'm sure there will be times when we look beatable. So, the hope is you hit your stride at the right moment, and Atlanta shows everybody what this team can do.
Absolutely. Hey, that's what makes winning even more sweeter with the ups and downs. And as you said, a team needs to build resilience in order to become the best in the world. And I think you guys are definitely going to be one of the contenders for our finals. I'm so excited. The love, the passion, the strength behind the team of the team. I can really sense that from talking to you, Paul. And I'm so excited to see what you and your boys are going to achieve this year. So thanks so much for catching up with me. And best of luck at your first home series.
Thank you, Lottie. FaZe up.
Great interview there with Paul Hamilton, kind of giving a little bit more in-depth, talking upon the Atlanta FaZe, and obviously shout out to the city of Atlanta. Wish that we could be there in person, but hey, the squad's repping pretty well, as currently 1 map away from possibly winning their very first series in the CDL here versus the Guerrillas. Oh my gosh, look at this schedule coming up. They've got OpTic here on the 14th, Ultra Mutineers Legion just right around the corner. Atlanta FaZe, without a doubt, Study. I mean, really kind of throughout stage 1, throughout their entire group, are always going to be one that teams have to be worried about, conscious about, and it's fair to say the Guerrillas are receiving exactly why that is the case. Off to a 2-0 start is Atlanta. And now Control, right? Control on Garrison. An interesting one here for both of these teams. We've talked a lot about Garrison Control really so far throughout this season. And the question relies on, will we have 2 3-0s today? I'll be honest, I normally don't root for other teams or root for rosters, but I really want to see at least a 3-1 here.
Yeah, I need the Guerrillas to just come out and be red hot. I need Vivid and I need aBeZy to step up, be those nuisances on the map with those submachine guns. Slide through mid-map, going through the rat hole, dropping down bottom mid, and always having one of your aggressive ARs, making sure you're controlling top green. That's the best position on this entire map. If your team is controlling top green, regardless of if you're on offense or defense, it should be pretty easy on both sides.
Here we go. Guerrillas, the opportunity of forcing the game 4. Atlanta FaZe, will they have our second 3-0 sweep of day number 2? We're about to find out. Getting things kicked off really over at Walkway. Off the initial fight, Atlanta FaZe happy to try to dip their feet inside of that B control point from time to time. However, aBeZy right around the corner. We're really, 30 seconds in, we finally have the first blood, and it's met by a number of other ones as it fills up with red. Atlanta FaZe walking with the early 4, and they've got to be careful because Simp is on the hunt. Cellium is there to cut him down, and Arcitys there where he left off.
Once again, Arcitys is holding top green, forcing those players to try to rat back towards A. It's looking like they're completely giving up on this P point. They went 4 down right off the rip. Atlanta FaZe only died once. Now Vivid's able to open up with the kill onto Simp. 2 minutes left for Atlanta FaZe to try to break in towards this A point. You know exactly how they're going to want to play this. Just work around the back side, play a couple of spawn kills. 3 go down for the Guerrillas. The last player that's able to hold this line is going to be Assault. He has a tough task at hand. He's going to get dropped. Now the Atlanta players are going to be on this point, forcing the players from the Guerrillas to try to break in. Cellium's going to be the last player remaining, but Atlanta FaZe played this perfectly right off the rip.
Yeah, and that presence really, instead of bricks, makes Assault have to rush forward with the XM4. You want to kind of stay in those positions, but he had no choice. Atlanta really taking map dominance over the Guerrillas. As really for a moment, there may have been a bright spot for Atlanta to try to make the pinch. However, Guerrillas do rebound. Vivid with the XM4 really off of spawn is trying to do as much damage as he can, try to even out that life count. That crawl space potentially was aBeZy. Cellium is there, cuts him down. So some good kind of mid-round adjustments being made from the Guerrillas. They finally kind of get him off the control point and have a little bit of room to breathe. But just as that happens, a big 1v1. Cellium wins it over aBeZy. However, the nade, really once dead, coming in from App is able to wipe away the point clear as Atlanta restarting. A minute left, and they've got 1 tick on A.
Well, a minute left, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Røkkr on the backside. Simp able to open up with the first blood onto Vivid, but he's going to get dropped. Great nade out of Assault there. See our minimap fully pulled up on our screen. That number 7 player is going to be Cellium, just playing his life at this site. He has the entire top green area, but he knows that all the Atlanta FaZe players are going to decide to go through middle map, try to get around the backside of bricks. aBeZy able to open up with 2 kills. The last player alive on the site is going to be Cellium. That number 6 player in Assault, you have to try to get to your teammate quick because it's starting to go down to the wire here. 25 seconds remaining on the clock. Atlanta FaZe need to make a push towards this point and stop the time.
Starting to stack up in bricks. Player 3 still alive. That's going to be Simp. He drops, and now last player alive is Cell. He was hanging out in top green. Really never got the clearance from his other SMGs to be aware of that pinch, so he ends up staying alive. He is going to play his life. 5 seconds left. They have to get onto this one quick and fast. They do have man count advantage when we talk about lives. Vivid, last player up, and that is going to be it. Guerrillas really couldn't survive for much longer given that life differential that we saw off of that first point. Atlanta, they run over to B, get the dominance there, and pretty much play top green the best way they can. But I'll be honest with you, Steady, really, the presence inside of bricks really kind of on that flank from Atlanta, it just looks a little bit too easy. We'll see the adjustments and how those go, but those SMGs, we talked about the tiny tears, how difficult they can be to manage. You can see the Guerrillas, they just had their hands full.
Yeah, they really did, man. I would have liked to see when the Guerrillas were picking up a lot of those kills on defense to just push up, play for more map control. When you're dying on your side of the map on defense, you're going to be spawning a lot farther than when you're dying in the middle of the map, trying to play for more map control. Atlanta FaZe, they just continuously just pushed right up mid, working around the backside. You saw Cellium the entire time just trying to stay on that 8 point. It wasn't really working out for them, but hopefully they're able to answer on this offense here.
Yeah, we'll see what Guerrillas have up their sleeves as we'll go ahead now to an Astro Gaming listening with Los Angeles.
Top green.
Top green.
Right side mid. Right side mid. He's mid. Oh, mid map. Top green, Alec. They're gonna push up.
Dead. Still alive. I think he's front of you on you.
Top cubby, top platform.
Got him.
Top now.
One more on,
right. Yep, I'm coming right to you right now. Top truck. He's close.
You right now.
Alex, he's pad on the truck. I'm wrapping the garage.
One to you.
Truck somewhere. He's front you. Still around truck. Backed up, I think. Still front you. I spawned you.
Front you on me.
I'm looking around with you.
Two plat, top and bottom.
I mean, close corner dead. No good play there. Go cubby, silo.
Got up 3. Last go. You sell.
It could be you. Okay, I'm going quick. It could be your play. Could be flat.
Okay.
I need L.
Yeah, quick. I know.
I'm the box. Back up in L again.
A much different offense now here for Guerrillas. We'll see if they can try to hit time here over at B in a big 2-piece. Coming in from Silly, instantly fires away at top green. Vivid's there for the trade, and it looks as if they will possibly be able to lock this one down. And yep, based off the spawns, Atlanta, they're going to go and issue their forces elsewhere, now over at A. So, scary situation. Guerrillas, they're actually able to rebound when we talk about the live situation. Got a chance to listen to their comms, study anything to note as they now rotate toward A.
I just like how clean they were in their comms. Even though they're down 0-2 in the series, they were still sounding like they're trying to fight back into this one. You heard Silly just being aggressive towards that right side of the map. The only thing that I liked what FaZe was doing right there was just pushing up. Like I said, playing for that map control when you're on defense, just controlling the spawns. And that's exactly what they were doing for the entire first side until the very end was Silly popped a 2-piece. And this is a great case scenario for the Guerrillas because when you're in that spawn trap, it's really difficult to get out. But Silly with that huge 2-piece, keeping the comms clean is really good. Looking forward to them in this round right here.
Yeah, take a look at LAG. Pretty much 3 strong through the back. They do lose 1 man, but they're fine with it. Pretty much what? aBeZy last man on the point. It's actually player 3, Simp, who does push up.
The entire
does
time.
end up finding a kill onto Silly. aBeZy hanging out in green, able to find 1.
Last player alive on the point is going to be Assault. Fortunately, he has to try to play his life perfect, try to stall enough time for him to go down, but aBeZy's going to get dropped. Cellium in a great position outside of lights, forcing all the players from the Guerrillas off spawn. They have 15 seconds to try to get to this point, trying to break through bricks, but Simp's here trying to play spoiler, able to take down 1. 7 seconds remaining. This is looking like Atlanta FaZe are going to go up 2-0 on this map number 3.
And that really the ending fight, really from the Skycam view, pretty much kind of told the tale of the ending round there for LAG. Just kind of run into a number of different situations where they're really in 2v1s, 3v4s. It was a solid attempt kind of through the flank, but it ends up getting cut down. Atlanta's able to deal with the pushes. As now they find themselves up, like you said, starting 2-0. 1 round away from another hot 3-0. Atlanta FaZe looking solid. Really a number of different things to kind of point out for them, but that initial offense for me was kind of the breaking point.
Yeah.
Their ability to kind of rush through bricks constantly. Is LAG just not able to hold on, but now's their opportunity. This is their chance. If it's going to be any time, it has to be now. They do not want to start off this CDL season by getting the 3-0 sweep versus Atlanta. They've never actually taken this team down in CDL history. They've met up 2 different times. It's been Atlanta each time, 3-2 and 3-1. Now it very well could be 3-0 as Cellium tries to get started off hot. He gets cut down. At least from the start, it's looking better for LAG, Study.
Yeah, this is a lot better. Their very first defensive round, they went 4 dead and gave that full B side up. Arcitys able to pick up 2 around this mid-map area, but here comes Assault on the backside, able to take him down as well. 3 are going to be off spawn for the LAG. They have to try to fight back quick. You are FaZe. You see those number players in number 1 and number 3. Trying to fight towards that bottom right mid. Number 1, which is going to be Arcitys, just holding off top green, making sure his teammates do not have to worry about that. Able to win a big gunfight onto Vivid. 2 go down for the Guerrillas. 3 go down once again. And it's looking like they're going to be set up for A as well. It's a big gunfight between Simp and Assault. He's going to be able to win that. So now ticks are going to be going on both points. But as I say that, Simp's going to get taken down by Nate.
Does get taken down, but Atlanta do get some time. Arcitys is going to be here on a 3 spree. Quickly tosses down the trophy and pretty much yells for his teammates for some backup, for a little bit of support. AR, VAR. How about that one from Arcitys? And up close, ends it out on a 5 spree. Lovely presence from aLLeY. And look at that player toward the bottom side of our map, pretty much toward the left. It is going to be Simp quickly on the flank. This is going to be their attempt to try to force it through bricks. The spawns are going to stay over here, and Simp is cleaning them up left and right. Takes down Vivid. It looks as if from the green position, it will be cleared out for LAG, but Simp is happy to stay back here and pretty much wait for that team push. They have something in mind, and they do have a minute to do it.
Yeah, Simp's playing this beautifully, man. aBeZy on the opposite side is pushed up all the way in their base, currently on a 5 spree. The young man, actually the father, is coming alive. His team needs him to be here. 2 kills are going to go down for FaZe. Simp's still in the back of the spawn. He's going to win a huge gunfight onto Assault there. 3 are going to go down for LAG. Last player to hold the stands is going to be number 5, who's going to be Vivid. Just trying to play his life at that front side green. But 17 to 10 lives in favor of Atlanta FaZe. They are playing this perfectly. They only need a couple more spawn kills until there's no more respawns remaining for the Guerrillas.
aBeZy able to clean up Arcitys, so that continuous flank at least being managed right now from the Guerrillas. As time starts to tick away, like you said, my life count advantage not in a great spot, but aBeZy could play spoiler. Vivid's going to read it. Arcitys nearly gets dropped through mid as Assault still hanging on to the point. Arcitys tries to go for the flank. That's not going to work out. Now things start to get scary for Atlanta. Can they hop in? Can they try to get into top green? It doesn't look all that likely. They shut down Cellium on the flank. They have to get in the point, and they have to get in it right now. Can Simp touch his toes on it? Can anybody hop inside? Arcitys, well, the time has actually expired, but Arcitys is still here. Can he make anything happen? All of his teammates off of spawn, and they will not, as LAG manage to hold on. Atlanta, a few good opportunities from the flank, but the Guerrillas able to keep themselves alive, as we'll, at the very least, see a round number 4. My goodness, what an ending sequence there from Arcitys and from this game study.
Yeah, I can't believe he almost stopped that time with 0 seconds on the clock, man. But hats off to aBeZy there, man. Pushing up to their base, pushing through green, really stepping up when he needed to. He was on a 5 spree, then he dropped, and then now he's currently on a 4 spree. So the guy's definitely been stepping up for his team. Now, the only thing is they're going up in another offense right now. They have to have a different game plan because we saw the way that Arcitys decides to play this towards green. They like to be aggressive. They're going to get 4 dead, and they're just going to push up, man. You need to be able to win this very first initial gunfight and open it up with a first blood. You guys to not lose map control off the rip.
Guerrillas, they do have some presence inside of mid. And for Vivid, he just wants to go ahead and back up. Just not want to have to deal with MC hanging out on that head. He decides to go ahead and reference back and just spot the, I guess to say, the head of Simp. Quickly, Arcitys is there, and yet again, it's kind of been Arcitys the savior for a lot of his Atlanta FaZe teammates. Always there and always trying to go for the trades. And really, Arcitys off spawn, a clear beginning for this game. 38 seconds left, and LAG, they do need to start making some progress before things start to get away for them. And Assault has a big position. Given his presence right now inside of top green, he falls to life. Really gets a lot more difficult. So one fight won from LAG, the other by Atlanta. The explosive goes off, and now it's one player left inside of the hill. One player that very well could decide how the remainder of this game goes, and that's actually going to be aBeZy. He gets cut down from the side. That's going to be Cellium. 13 seconds left. aBeZy hanging out inside of Vince. He will cut one down. Assault as well, trying to stay alive through middle. 6 seconds left. Decides to actually make his way on the flank, and he's just trying to get as much time as possible, trying to stay alive for the rest of his LAG teammates to come off of spawn, and they cannot get in the point in time. And that will be it. Atlanta FaZe will walk away with this game 3-1 and a hot 3-0 in this series. Some good attempts from LAG toward the stretch, but they just did not have enough time. They didn't have enough presence. They didn't get a point. And that comes to bite them in the end, stud.
Yeah, it all came down to Arcitys, man. He was my MVP of that map right there. Him, the way that he was fighting for top green, that's like the most powerful position on that entire map. He was winning every single one-on-one. You saw right there, Assault tried to unfortunately jump out that window movement wasn't the best there, so Arcitys was able to take him down. I would have liked Assault to just sit there in that corner, because just being up there is such a powerful position. You stay alive there, everything changes. Like you said, Arcitys was their safety net that entire map whenever a play wasn't going, and the reason why is because he continued to hold green. Great plays out of Arcitys the entire time. Congratulations to Atlanta FaZe on winning 3-0. It's a great bounce back from the kickoff.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. There were some questions coming on Atlanta, even when you heard players kind of talking in reference to Atlanta. They're like, yeah, they're still like a top 3, top 4 team for sure. A great statement win here versus LAG. And really kind of in closing, when we talk about the roster changes coming into this Friday, Dashy with OpTic, Arcitys here with FaZe. Obviously, they end up swapping places, and, or at least in terms of Dashy going over to the OpTic side. Yeah. Both additions really had their some good performances today. I think more specifically Arcitys in this game versus LAG, when he drops 13 in the S&D. As you referenced, a lot of big moments for him where he was able to step up for his teammates, kind of doing it all for Atlanta, which is what they expect out of this guy now that he's repping red.
Yeah, man, you got to be expecting great things out of Arcitys. The guy's a world champion for a reason. He's a do-it-all kind of player. We saw him last year on Huntsman, running that flex, just being that nuisance with a submachine gun or an AR. And he's not missing a beat here with his teammates now. Obviously, he doesn't have to pull out a sub a lot because he has the Tiny Terrors on his team, but just his AR play, his positioning right there on that map is the reason why his team won, especially in such a dominant fashion.
Yeah, and you can really kind of see it throughout this game. A lot of little adjustments being made from the Atlanta FaZe. Again, I know I kind of talked about this earlier. A lot of teams not able to handle the speed of teams like the Dallas Empire. In the same sentence, you could also mention the Atlanta FaZe, kind of in a lot of offensive positions when they're pushing through bricks on this garrison. Guerrillas, they really couldn't hold on to them. Or when they did, it was just a matter of when is Atlanta going to be able to make the breaks. Very impressive stuff here for the Atlanta FaZe. And you know, Study, I was really hoping that we would see a 3-1, maybe even a Game 5, but back-to-back 3-0s, it just goes that way sometimes, you know?
I know, man. It's nothing you can really do, Lando, you know? Sometimes we don't get what we want, but there were some great matches overall, man. OpTic winning 3-0, FaZe winning 3-0. You're the teams that lost on the opposite side. If you're Paris or if you're the Guerrillas, you got a lot of homework to do. You have more matches coming up throughout the later of this week and throughout the remainder of the year. That's not the way you want to start. Going 0-3 in your very first match means you got some homework to do.
Well, buddy, I know what. We still have our Scuff play of the game here for this control. We'll kind of reference this one and kind of bring it full circle for the most part. But really, again, in reference to all the things that we've been discussing kind of toward the ending phases, it was this round 4 from FaZe, right? Guerrillas, no real time. There's 18 seconds left. They kind of start to get into a panic. And from there, it was Cellium taking advantage and Atlanta pretty much holding on to that map positioning.
Yeah, man, it was all about just getting those kills and knowing exactly when you need to push up. You see aBeZy playing this dark room area, probably pushed up the rat hole to get to that positioning. But once you have all those kills and you have that teammate, like I said, sitting in that top green area, it's the best position to be in. Once Assault lost his gunfight, it completely just crumbled for the Guerrillas because you saw Arcitys post up top green, able to call all the players wrapping towards tools or just wrapping towards that dark area. If they had more positioning or more gunfights in their favor towards top green, would have been a totally different map.
Yeah, it definitely would. And who knows, if it would have been a totally different map, we would have saw, some more Garrison, which I'm always excited about.
More Garrison.
A few Garrisons coming up, potentially. Garrison Hardpoint for Game 4, Miami SD. Doesn't really work out. Today, I want to ask you a question. In relation to this series, put me on the spot a little bit. In relation to this series, what do you take more from? Atlanta FaZe's victory or Guerrillas' loss here?
Honestly, I'm taking more from Guerrillas' loss here because we saw the Guerrillas come out and win 3-2 in their kickoff match, and it was a pretty good match showing from the entire team. Now, the season has started. We expect Atlanta FaZe to beat one of those top dog teams, and they show us why. But now, you have 3 world champions who won a championship together on the Guerrillas. I need better performances out of everybody across the board and just more communication, man. You guys got to understand what you can push and what you can't. You guys play for a little bit more map control on your defenses, you would have never lost at least one offensive round.
Yeah, I know kind of too. What Silly, I think it was right as the team was announced, and obviously it was talked about, right? You have 3/4 of the team that won back in World War II. Silly kind of went on the record to say, hey, technically we are the 4v4 defending champions. So you kind of have to keep that in mind as time does go on. These guys have a lot of experience. I know that year in particular was a crazy champs, but there is still some light for this team. Obviously, it's the very beginning of the season. Teams are still working things out. A lot of rosters are still kind of finalizing things. But you saw there, right, aBeZy He's happy, right? He's obviously happy, kind of given the circumstances. They're excited to walk away with this 3-0 victory, really versus any team in the CDL. Every roster looks good. Every team is going to be talented, including this Guerrillas roster, which I know that they're going to kind of rebound in preparation for that series versus the Legion tomorrow. So like I said, both teams getting 3-0'd. They now have the opportunity to at least get a win when we talk about this current group in regards to stage 1, but not an easy schedule. Florida, OpTic, Ultra still to come. Guerrillas, still a lot of work to do, Steady.
Yeah, definitely still a lot of work to do, man, but you got to be focused on one match at a time. Paris Legion is your next matchup tomorrow. Just got to come game ready.
That's absolutely right. Well, Atlanta FaZe, they're able to get the victory here at their own home series. Of course, the city, like we said, is absolutely electric right now. You probably can't hear it, but there's cars going nuts. It's absolutely fantastic. Loony standing by with Arcitys. We'll be back.
Our heroes can't fly. They fall like shooting stars. Will anyone survive? Dragons take flight above the ice and snow. High in the sky where the cold wind blows. Wings feet down as the feet back foes. Flaming hot fire over frozen bones. Good unites against people they oppose. They ride or die as the legends grow. We must go to sense doing our heroes. There are no silence in this combat zone. Beats mid-air, yeah, it's a chiller. Life and death, yeah, it's a killer. They go round and round as the beat down pounds. Aerial thrills, yeah, it's a thriller. The sky's filled with trauma and all of this drama. Pretending and impending, yeah. Crush down. It's dragons descend.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. Joining me this time, I have the one and only Arcitys from Atlanta FaZe. Arcitys, I am so gassed, especially ending on that control. You guys looked formidable. You looked formidable all series long. But I've got to ask you, how does it feel to be back with your boys once again?
I mean, these guys are crazy. They're super fast and I'm trying to get used to that pace, but besides that offensive control round, they were playing super slow. We were playing super slow, but that's communication error. But other than that, it's. I mean, they're my brothers, so I'm glad to be back.
I love that. I love that. And, you know, it's great because you slipped straight into the team, man. You know, you were a vital part of the team with them previously in CWL, champs in your own right, and it's really, really cool to see you back on sticks together. Now, I've got to ask you as well, Kickoff Classic was the last time that we saw you guys perform, and I know it didn't count to much, and I know it was just a little taster, but I've got to ask, dude, what happened against the Mutineers?
I mean, it's like getting the nerves out of the way. We waited months to finally play a CDL match. The nerves just got to us, and we learned a lot. I learned a lot, especially with these guys. It's been quite a while since I played with them compared to the Huntsman. But it's like I learned that like we gotta calm down when we're playing because like that match was a super intense and super fast, and like I felt like I couldn't set up. Like they probably felt the same way. So that match right here, this match right here, just felt super great, and actually you could tell I could get kills.
You did indeed, man. You were a definite vital part of the team's performance there. And honestly, it's really great to see you back home where you belong. Last question of course, you're going to be facing OpTic next. How do you guys prepare for a match like that? I know it's obviously a big one. They've pretty much made some of the most noise in the league so far, and it's just the beginning. So how are you guys feeling about it? What's the prep going to look like?
I mean, the matches with the most pressure is always the fun part. So I think we're just going to, after this match, we're probably just going to watch some VODs before scrims, just take every day just practicing. So like tomorrow we gotta get back into it. Sorry, and I don't know. It's just gonna be a big match. I'm excited to play with my former teammates.
Love it, love it. Well, the grind is on. I'm sure you guys are gonna practice your hearts out and play the best that you guys can do against them. So best of luck for it, and thanks so much for catching up with me, Arcitys.
Thank you.
There you go, guys. We're going to head to a quick break right now. We're going to break down everything that we have seen today. I've got my trusty analysts on the desk, Mr. X and Nameless. So we'll be back right after this.
Our heroes can't fly. They fall like shooting stars. Will anyone survive? Dragons take flight above the ice and snow. High in the sky where the cold wind blows. Wings beat down as the feedback falls. Flaming hot fire over frozen bones. Good unites against people they oppose. They ride or die as the legends grow. We must go to sense, doing our heroes. There are no silence in this combat zone. Beats midair, yeah, it's a chiller. Life and death, yeah, it's a killer. They go round and round as the beat down pounds. Aerial thrills, yeah, it's a thriller. The sky's filled with trauma and all of this drama. Pretending and impending it. Crash down. It's dragons and dragons descend.
Victory or death! Your soul shall be mine! Your soul shall suffer!
Oh, I'm so in.
They say credit belongs to the man in the arena, who spends himself in a worthy cause. The credit belongs to those who dare greatly. And to those that fail, at least fail daringly. Target terminated. The glory is reserved for the few who, no matter what, answer the call to enter the arena. The call doesn't care if you fight for 1 or 20,001. It echoes out, reverberating across the globe. It only acts to reach the bold, never the timid. It's what's next what's now and what will always be.
Scump from up high. 1, 2. This is non-stop. You've got nowhere to run. It's a massacre. Oh, no. Wow.
Airstrike coming. It's an ambush. The spawns are out of control. Don't go in. It's madness. This is it. What a round.
The call delivers victory to the deserving and rewards the devoted. For when your time comes, there is only one option. Enter the arena. Fight for the call.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Call of Duty League. Now we are back to round the night off and talk about everything that unfolded today. It's day 2, Atlanta home series, second day of the season. I could go on and gas up how exciting this moment is because, boy, I had a good time. Mr. X, though, I gotta ask you, my friend, what did you learn on day 2 of the Call of Duty League?
I mean, I think we all learned that, you know, OpTic and FaZe are both extremely good, you know, both getting 3-0s. But for me, I feel like OpTic really kind of displayed like a level of dominance today that I think some people expected, but everybody, you know, a little optimistic going in. Everybody wanted to believe this would be the team that we see play that way. And to see them play as good as they were today, I think gives a lot of fans confidence moving forward.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And one thing I'm noticing, you know, after seeing these 3-0s is that the skill gap in this game seems to be a little bit more apparent than last year. You know, like we're seeing the top teams really sort of establish themselves, and that's exactly what we saw with FaZe today. I think that was a big win for them for confidence purposes, and you also saw Arcitys talking a little bit about it. At kickoff, it was sort of a frenzy in their comms, and today it looked way more smooth. We saw Arcitys with the big play and control. That first initial offense win was massive, and then aBeZy in that 1v1 swing round and search and destroy. Like, just great plays all around, and they really showed what they're capable of.
Definitely, and I think, you know, taking that from you, and I mean, it's been a learning curve for, I think, everybody. So everyone I've spoken to so far, Arcitys, Scump, they say that they're learning, they're still growing as a team, especially S&D, OpTic, notorious for letting their fans down, letting themselves down when it comes to S&D in big, big moments. Today they managed to clutch up, despite a very difficult slip-up at the start of the map to round things off there for them, but it was great to see the resilience that they had as a team, able to clutch that, climb that back up, and win that S&D, which honestly, I gotta say, you know, I'm a fan of all our teams here, but I really did think they had lost that one. I really kind of just chalked it up. But hey, they proved me wrong again. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how they're gonna grow on their S&D, what they're gonna do. We all know that their respawns are pretty OP at this point. But are there any cracks in them? Are they going to go back and look at their S&D and really focus on that and then allow cracks to start appearing on their respawns? I don't know, we'll let other teams decide that one. But I tell you what though, we do have a killer schedule for tomorrow, guys. We have our US Army schedule for you to see what's going to be happening across your weekend here at the Call of Duty League. Beginning things off on Saturday, we have got Guerrillas versus Legion. Mutineers versus Toronto Ultra, and our Game Fuel marquee match tomorrow is going to be LA Thieves versus NYSL. Sunday is going to bring you the London Royal Ravens versus Seattle Surge. Dallas Empire takes on the Minnesota Røkkr, and our Game Fuel marquee match on Sunday, one to definitely not miss, is going to be Atlanta FaZe versus OpTic Chicago. That is going to be a banger. Wow, I'm very excited. Our schedule is looking pretty good. It's looking pretty up there with all the schedules. For anything, any kind of sports, let alone esports, you need to be here this weekend.
It's a great schedule,
I'm telling you right now.
just in general, yeah.
Thanks,
overall.
Mr. X, thanks. It's a very good schedule. I appreciate the hype on that and the help. Got my back. I tell you what, though, talking about the schedule, we need to talk about day 3, of course. So, I'm going to start with you, Nameless. Day 3, man, what are you looking forward to?
Mutineers Ultra for sure. Mutineers with the big win versus FaZe at the kickoff. They looked fantastic. Neptune looked great, but what I'm really looking at in the series is Ultra. I mean, they looked fantastic in Hardpoint. That was the best series I've seen Bance play in like 3 years now. I mean, he was taking over in Hardpoints. And remember, guys, Ultra, they weren't able to get the best practice those 2 weeks prior to that, or the month leading up to it. And now with this 2 weeks going into this match, I think they're going to be fantastic in this series, man. I think it'll be a close one. And, you know, I see a lot of people on their pick'ems saying that Mutineers are going to win 3-0, 3-1 against Ultra. And I think it'll be a lot closer than that.
I think that's going to be a really good series, and I'm excited really for NYSL versus the LA Thieves. and more for the NYSL side, because we didn't really see them like have a great kickoff, right? They get blown out by Dallas, but there was a lot that was going on at the time where, you know, Zuma was, you know, he retires, they have to fill in the roster. They've now had like 2 weeks to play and kind of get up to speed with what's going on with the new team. So I'm excited to see what they look like. I think they're going to look better than people expect. You know, and we all know Clayster. He's not somebody who's just got to kind of like roll over and just like take L's. Like he's going to get this team to a spot where they can compete one way or another. So I'm excited to see how they start out.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. I think, you know, obviously with NYSL and how they kind of performed at the Kickoff Classic, it was evident to see that they kind of just got in a snowball effect in that Dallas Empire match. So yeah, very excited to see what these guys are capable of. For me though, I've got to say, how good are the Mutineers team? How good are they really? Because I know they did get the 1-up over FaZe at the Kickoff Classic, but I need to see more. I need them to test the waters a little bit more. And I think going up against Ultra tomorrow will really start to tell us a little bit of a story about this team. How good are they? Do they have any cracks in their armor? What makes them tick? And some of the weaknesses, which I'll definitely pick the brains of obviously my trusty analysts on it as well. So we'll find out a little bit more about this Mutineers team. Is Neptune going to step up? Is he going to be able to fill the shoes of some of the players that have been there before him? We will find out. But I tell you what, guys, I do have a little bit of social media for you to have a little gander at. We have our social soundboard powered by Astro. We have Scump tweeting, GG's Paris 1-3-0. Great way to start the season. Hashtag Green Wall. And we've also got, you know, the other duo from the T2P, legendary duo that we have here. GG's to Paris. We won 3-0. Great way to start the league. Hashtag Brick by Brick. So the OpTic legacy is definitely back, and it's in full swing currently at the moment. They're building a wall, a green one, in the Hex quarters. So make sure you check that green wall out, and hopefully you guys can be a part of it and place your brick in if you are an OpTic fan. So really, really cool. And yeah, I'm very excited to see the level of gameplay OpTic are really going to start to push forward this season. I tell you what, Mr. X, I'm so sorry, but I know that you're not going to be with us tomorrow, are you? Where are you going?
Yeah, no, I have to leave Atlanta. I have a late flight tonight out of Atlanta, so I won't be here for Saturday and Sunday. But I'm sure whoever takes my spot here, they'll be all right. And probably not as good as me, but they'll be all right.
Okay,
it's hard.
Well,
it's hard to be
as
good as X, right? 2 games, right? Comes in, hasn't skipped a beat.
2 games. Blast, yeah, I know. I got all my predictions right the first 2 days. So I feel like maybe you guys are just kicking me out.
You got it?
I got this morning I switched both of them to a 3-0. So
wow, he's a late switcher, folks. The late switcher. He can't. He has to switch last minute. He can't actually back himself up on anything. No, Matt, we are going to miss you tomorrow. I feel better about my
predictions this morning than a week ago.
Very true.
That is very true. We're actually going to be having a special guest tomorrow. Enable is going to be joining us on the desk, so you guys have that to look forward to.
Enable's pretty good. I'll give him that.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. X, thank you so much. Nameless, absolute pleasure as always. I'll see you tomorrow bright and early. Folks at home, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for Day 3 of the League.
Let's get it.
Mighty keeps it going.
Normal, looking fantastic.
Envoy slaying his way through. Scump from up high, the king.
I'm out here doing what they thinking is irrational.
Really starting to run that score up.
I'm gonna make it back, make it back, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, OpTic Gaming are back. Chicago are a force to be reckoned with.
The game has turned on its head.
Run! Run! Get onto the point! Cellium finds himself 2 more. Oh, baby! Absolutely slayed. What a magnificent comeback from Atlanta.